What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 279. I am your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Chris Seeley,
What up, humans?
Carlos Romero,
Yo, man.
Brett Murdoch.
What's up, people?
Beautiful. And Brian Majoma.
Hey, Tony. I was playing this game the other day, and it had an easy mode, but it was way too easy.
Yo, by the way, I'm surprised nobody asked us about that. Maybe I'll throw in a question about that because we got to speak on that shit. Yeah. By the way, this podcast is too easy, man. We gotta step it up a bit, right? Yo, fucking nuts, man. We're gonna anyway. How y'all people doing out there, man? In these quarantine streets, you already know, man. Got people in the chat room already. Got Barry Burton in the house. My man C. Iverson. You already know, man. And again, Manny and Adam are taking a necessary leave of absence due to Manny's mom passing away, which is very unfortunate. But Manny's, there, things are bad, obviously, but he's been able to do some good things that he was afraid he wasn't going to be able to, because again, this happening during the quarantine, making things a lot more difficult than it should be. But he should be able to lay her to rest properly, which is good.
Yeah.
Because, man, it was crazy. But we're not going to get to that right now. Anyway, we got some questions tonight. And if you guys want to ask us some more shit as we're doing this live, feel free to leave us questions right here on the Twitch, man. We will be answering your shit. All right, let's get into it, man. First up, hey, Brian, who's this guy, Drunken Demon, man?
Order.
I don't know, man. I don't know about this guy, man. He something shady about this dude. But anyway, his first question is, what game studio should make a horror game? And Brian, just for the sake of fun, why don't you answer this one first?
Yeah, this was just because I've been watching like a lot of horror films, and I was thinking like, why aren't there like any good horror games? And by good horror, I don't mean like the ones where like amnesia stuff, where like something just comes out the darkness and scares you and loud noises and all sorts. I mean like an actual horror game. Yes, I'm using this as a lame excuse to talk about PT because why the hell not? Why isn't there like a PT game these days? I mean, I'm sure that the talent is there to make it. The question is, why don't we have a PT game? And if we were to get one, then what studios would be good at making a PT game? Like, what studios have the caliber to make a vision, to have a vision and then realize it to its fullest? So hence, I was like, okay, like what studios make sense for that? I was thinking more lines like the middle-sized ones, not like the big guys, because the big guys will spend more time on making it look good and making it all cinematic and all sorts, and it just won't have the same. It won't have the same, like it won't have. It won't feel the same. Like horror films aren't great because they look great. Horror films are great because they feel great. So what game studios make games that make you feel great in the sense of, okay, this is a great feeling, or I'm feeling something.
Question.
Yes.
Traditionally, horror games, like the medium itself, has been kind of evolving. In the sense that back in the day, it was locked, awkward camera angles and slow pacing and limited ammo and things like that. Do you mean like that classic formula, that classic Dead Space formula, or are you talking about kind of a new approach, anything that could be considered horror?
I guess anything that's not horror in the zeitgeist. Anything that's not paranormal activity-esque horror. So
Paranormal activity is not like jump scare kind of horror.
Well, and that's what I'm asking. Are we talking jump scare games or ambiance games?
Ambiance. 120% ambiance.
Okay.
Jump scare games can go. I don't know.
Take it, go.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I'm not. Well, I mean, Resident Evil kind of is jump scare.
I was just about to say, Brian, if you want a PT game, play Resident Evil 7. Because I was directly inspired by the PT demo.
Yeah, so and if you want another studio, because Capcom is too big, Kojima Productions. Because I mean, Kojima Productions is like a mid-tier studio in terms of size.
I'm tempted to say From Software, but they already make horror games. Like all those games are terrifying. You know?
Oh, the Soulsborne games.
Yeah,
It's a question of if you count those or not. Like we count those, but they would also be really good at, like, man, From Software, Miyazaki's like the master of environmental storytelling. So if you want like even like a traditional horror game, I hate to say it because I want him to keep making Souls types games, but he would be an excellent choice for a horror game. Like, and I mean him as a person, like the way that you single out certain creators, like it has to be Miyazaki, not just From Software.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because like, yo, those games make you scared of like losing your progress. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck, like that shit'll scare the fuck out of you, man.
Well, dude, just like Neo is great, but it doesn't have the same like what the fuck is going on right now. The tagline for the Soulsborne game is like, "What the fuck is that?"
This is a fact. This is a fact.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a very unique form of horror. And like I think those games are 100% ambiance. Like it's not that you're limited on ammo. It's not that anybody's even telling you a scary story or anything like that. It's just they're horrible monster creatures coming at you. You have the ability to defeat them. They're just horrible. So it's kind of horror in its purest form.
I mean, I would say the Souls games are horror games. The ambiance, like you mentioned, it's scary. Like when you don't know when you turn a corner and you see an enemy, if it's gonna be some crazy ass dude that's gonna be hard to kill, or a crazy ass monster, or and then the aspect where if you freaking die, you lose your souls and you have to go back to get them, and like all of that kind of stuff. Like it adds to the experience, and it's like more to like contrast the whole jump scare things. It's something that it's horror that's sort of garnered with the experience, not with the the cheapness of just jumping in front of you and saying boo.
I would agree with that. I think Consequence. I think you might have hit something there. I forget who off the top of my head. Who did XCOM?
XCOM.
Okay, I'm not alone.
I'll look it up.
I feel like people started.
Like I want to say them because like, man, like I got connected to my like not they dropped the ball with XCOM 2. That's just my opinion. The timed missions, false sense of urgency. I think the idea is like everybody's terrified of losing something. You guys remember like didn't you play Final Fantasy Tactics?
Yeah, I didn't like that game very much.
Okay, have you ever played an RPG with permadeath?
Yeah, the first Valkyria Chronicles did. Man, when I lost this one motherfucker, he wasn't even a special guy, man. I was like, fuck, my man is dead. Shit. That's
right there.
Yeah.
The threat of that right there is horror. And that's why I'm like, oh, like who could make that? Like who could make, even like a strategy game? Oh, fucking God damn it. They make Divinity. Brian, help me out here.
Larian Studios.
There you go, Larian. Larian needs to make a fucking horror game.
By the way, the XCOM people are. I'm probably gonna say this name wrong because I've never said this name before. Either Firaxis or Firaxis, but that's who makes them. That's who developed XCOM: Enemy Unknown. I guess you guys never heard that name either.
Yeah, I'm looking.
I'm just like, wow. I've heard it.
I went to the wiki and there's like fucking like 10 studios in this shit.
Yeah, well, for Enemy Unknown, which is one of the latest one, is Firaxis Games and publisher by 2K. So not 2K. Not a small publisher there. I don't know, but yeah, horror games. Yeah, I don't know because I'm not really a horror guy. Like Resident Evil is probably the only horror shit I fuck with.
But see, that's what's interesting about this question is because in a very subtle way, it's asking you, what do you consider a horror game? What's valuable in a horror game?
Yeah, no, that is true.
It's well played.
Yeah, I like this question, Drunken Demon, whoever you are.
I like Killer Pigeon better, man.
Yeah, Killer Pigeon's the shit, man.
That dude is pretty cool.
Like, yo, like if it's a pigeon that's killing, that shit is real, man. It doesn't make any sense. Pigeons are like supposed to be like nice and shit, but no, man. This one kills. Killer pigeon.
Shit.
Did we answer this?
I don't know if we answered it or not.
I answered it.
All right. I'll throw in my suggestion. I think Frictional Games should do a PT horror game. I mean, they did Amnesia and Soma. Those are kind of those tight quarters, like very atmospheric and spooky, and you can't really fight back amnesia. I know you can't like do anything about your situation. You just hide or try to get the fuck out of the way before something kills you.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
How about Platinum?
That'd be interesting.
Too actiony, man.
I mean,
no, but he wants to see them try something new, right, Carlos? Is that what it is?
Yeah, like they can. I mean, there's some parts of Nier that are kind of creepy. You know, that I don't know, like the atmosphere kind of gave me a little bit like it's like oh, it's like give me the feels, man. Where it's like shit.
There's a question. There's a studio I'm surprised Brian hasn't said yet.
Yeah. I mean, come on. You know the Cyberpunk studio.
Just saying.
Oh, Naughty Dog, dude!
Oh, that's a solid burn.
Okay, unless you're thinking of Siege Project Reds.
Yeah. You really have to think about that.
Oh.
Like chapter based divergent narrative is their bread and butter, man.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see them doing that.
Okay.
What else is it?
It didn't take it much convincing.
I guess. Sure.
I can see how it could work. It could be like one of those like choose your own adventure type games where you end up like, okay, everyone has their own experience because they all branch down different paths, but yet some see the same thing. So yeah, I definitely see them do that. I think that would be quite cool actually. Like,
I would
choose your own adventure games. Like,
dude, I'd love to see I'd love to see CD Projekt like that's the kind of like, man, I'm not impressed with their content, but man, their storytelling skills are fucking on point. And the way that they'll lead you in, like even like one of the coolest things about Witcher is, I forget which one is the first mission. Like it's a solid investigation. Like you're tracking down like a fucking, was it a demon in a well or something like that? But like you have to go through all of these points where where you're like something is off in the village, and I call it that Diablo one. Like I think the first time I ever experienced it was like the opening cutscene of Diablo. That kind of weird, esoteric, creepy kind of vibe. Like it wasn't necessarily the gameplay, like boom, scared you, but it was just something about the game. Like Witcher definitely gave me some of that. So I could see if they went full bore on horror, like they could do some crazy shit, man.
I have a question.
Uh-oh.
For those of you who played Death Stranding, did that have any sort of horror elements, or did anything get like creepy or spooky and shit?
Nah, not to me. It was just weird shit. But I wouldn't call it horror or anything.
Okay.
Like I mean, I guess it's like scary trying to like go through like a place for the first time, not knowing if there's gonna be monsters coming after you. But by the end of the game, I was just like, bring the monsters on. I was ready for them. But yeah, in the initial moments, I guess it can be scary. It's like, oh shit, look at that black stuff over there. Oh man, what's gonna happen? And then when your vehicle gets like drunken by the fucking ground, you're like, fuck. But yeah, after that, once you get badass weapons, you're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna see like if maybe that had aspects, and then Kojima and his his work with PT and stuff. So maybe that maybe Kojima Productions would have been a great studio for that kind of stuff.
I think so. That'll be my answer. That's my cheap answer. Kojima Productions. I want to see him do a full on one.
Here's my question though: is like Kojima is always like a little bit weird, and a little wacky. Like I feel like the PT that we got wasn't 100% him. It was when you wrangle him in a specific way. Because like what are some of the fucking names in names of his antagonists? Like his characters are always a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, like Die Hard Man and shit like that.
Yeah, like he just seems like a product of the 90s. Like then there's no completely scrubbing him of that. Like I don't know, unless it was a collaborative project, if Kojima could do another.
Hey man, he can collaborate with Del Toro again.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, can Kojima alone make another PT? Like, just as even a sidebar question, like if you asked him to recreate that, do you think without the help of a horror master that he'd be able to really kind of nail that shit down?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question because I don't think he can help himself from putting in those goofy aspects, like you say. Like he can't help himself, so he would need somebody to wrangle him in, like a Del Toro. I agree with you on that, because Kojima he'll just go off. PT is proof of that. Like that is Kojima unrestrained, bro.
Yeah, and I think some of the best things come from collaborative effort. So that's just like Kojima brings a lot to the table. But he's a little George Lucas-y.
Oh yeah,
you need somebody there to kind of pull him in a little bit.
All right, man. Let's move on to the next question from Drunken Demon. All right, this one's kind of interesting. What do you think? What are your thoughts on skins on consoles like D brand? Would you get them as an alternative to official colors? Brian, just explain that to me. What the fuck is D brand?
So D brand is like this company that gives you like skins for your consoles and your controllers and phones and stuff. Basically, it's just console skins, and you put like high quality stickers type things, and your consoles look completely different. So, would you ever consider getting those if you couldn't get the console that you wanted? And also, it actually does remind me. I did mention that it would be nice if the new gen or next gen consoles come out in white day one, and judged by the DualSense 5, chances are the PS5 will be white day one. So, yeah, that was interesting. I completely missed that.
We have a question related to that too. Go ahead.
Not only would I have.
Excuse me?
Rachel and I did it with the suggestion of that company, thanks to Brian. And I will never go back to a playing console again. Fuck that. I can crop my own image and place it, plaster it across my console. That's one of one, bitch. I'm the only one who has that.
Wouldn't be surprised if Brian has this question just to toot his own horn.
I don't.
Man, that would be a deep cut.
That would be the horror game to play.
Oh shit.
I don't use them, but actually I'm not against them either. Like if I find a pretty cool one, I would use one on my console. Yeah, especially if I don't like
any picture into a skin, dude. Literally any picture.
Yeah, so I've used D-Brand before on my cell phones, but I've never tried it on a console before. Usually because sometimes like I'm like, fuck, I'll get one and I'm like, oh, but this one's pretty cool too. So I want to get another one and I don't want it to become, some obsession thing. So I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it vanilla. But if the PS5 console is as ugly as some people want to think it is, I might do it, but we'll see. We'll see when Sony releases the console. I'm not gonna debrand my PC tower. I don't know what kind of stuff you're into, Brian, but that's not gonna be debranded anytime soon. And I don't think I'm gonna get a Series X. So, oh, you know what? The Switch is. I think that one I will debrand actually. I'm getting tired of that. I'm getting tired of that color scheme, and also the dock as well. It's just too plain.
All right, Chris, would you consider doing something like that for your console?
Nah. I don't really decorate it with stickers and stuff anymore. I don't do that shit. If they come out with an edition, a special edition of the console, I'll just get it from Sony or whoever. But I don't skin my stuff. I'm too lazy.
Yeah. I'm for me, it's not really laziness. I just want the console to look the way it's supposed to look. So I'm not against it. If you want to do that's cool. But for me, I'm like, I want it to look the way Sony or whatever company decided to make it look. Even if it's ugly, I'm like, I'll just deal with it because that's the way it's supposed to look. So I wouldn't do that. But I do like seeing what some other people come up with. That's pretty cool. But it's not for me.
Yo, real quick, shout out to Manny who's in the chat.
Hey, Manny, what's going on, brother?
Yo, Manny.
I mean, but you wouldn't like you're saying that you wouldn't do it off of principle just because the console came like that?
It's not a principle. It's just I want it to look the way it's supposed to look,
So that's okay.
Yeah. But again, I'm you know me, I'm not even into like custom shit in general. Like when I'm playing a game, it's like customize a character, I'm like select default character number 1 and let's go. I don't give a shit about that stuff.
You and Brett are like on the extremes.
Yeah. And even with like PC mods, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that shit. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Even though mods are kind of cool, I will admit that. But I'm like, I want to play it the way it is.
So I have a question. I guess Brian and Brett. What D-brand skin would you consider putting on your PS4 if you were to get one? Oh, PS5.
On my PS5?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a lot. Shit. Maybe
It's
Deadpool?
Deadpool. Okay, so you'd go with like a comic book character.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't mean to toot my own horn. I'd probably make a custom design and submit that, and then have my own art on my PS5.
That'd be
I'm
dope.
assuming that the PS5 will be like two-tone, like the controller is, so hence half and half. So maybe something that fits in that type of aesthetic. So having characters that have like two tones to them makes sense. So hence you can maybe have like an Iron Man one where it's like red and yellow, or like a Deadpool black and red, or like a um Wolverine like blue and yellow. So you can.
Yeah, with like a little flair from each name. Like a Wolverine thing might have Deadpool have just the Deadpool or something.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I'll probably just go with something simple. Just get some like wood grain type look, like some dark wood, like black or almost black type wood, and then just it's nice. Have a look classic, yet
I
modern
like
at the
that.
same time.
Like an Atari.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, I think everybody answered this one, so we'll move on to the next question, which is actually related. This one is from Black Metal Gamer. Da-da-da-da. All right, so if you can customize, who gave us some fucking money? Who did that? Techno Fabulous with the chair. We got to give you one, brother. Call of Duty. my man.
I appreciate that, man.
All right. He goes, if you can customize the DualSense controller, what two-tone colors would you rock with?
Well, it's interesting because we haven't seen the console yet, so I kind of would gear towards more to where the console looks like. I don't like to steer too far away from.
Or we could safely assume the console is going to have those same color schemes, So yeah. So what would you? I'm just going to go, and I said this last time. This, the fucking, for you guys who are listening, this is the blue PlayStation controller. Official, by the way, it's not for third party. It's from Sony. So it's basically blue, translucent on the front, and you can see all the gears and shit inside, all the motors and all that stuff. And on the back, it's just solid blue, a little bit lighter and stuff. This is what I want for the DualSense 5. And here's the thing. Sony has done this for, at least, because I have this same controller for the PS2, PS3, PS4. I'm going to assume Sony's going to do it again for the PS5. So that's what I want. I want the whatever the fuck this shit is called, the blue one with the translucent shit,
By the way, shout out to Merc305 Plays who just followed.
All right.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'll go with an easy one. I'll go with the PS1 looking controller because every generation has that shit.
This one?
Yeah, right.
You already
classic.
know, son.
The gray on dark gray kind of thing.
Yeah, you have to go with a classic. I mean, it's just one of those things. Like I am not gonna lie. When I seen that like PS4 that in like that scheme, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
I want,
I shouldn't, but come on, it's like respect the heritage, respect the name, like, So yeah, I probably in that color. If not, then probably something really crazy. Ooh, purple and green.
Purple and green.
The Joker colors. The Joker.
like the Hulk or Green Goblin. Or Molecule Man. I'm going to name a bunch of villains that have purple and green.
I was thinking Joker.
Yeah, Joker.
The Joker?
Yeah, Joker.
I was thinking of Evangelion, so I guess.
Oh,
okay.
Yo, man, you give me some ideas for D-brand skins.
See?
Yo,
This
man.
one, like, you just have an idea, and then it's a thing.
Yo, man, you're doing this to toot your own horn, man. You're making all of us convert.
Brand.
Oh, dude,
to
dude.
be sponsored.
I would actually love to design my PS5 and controller to look like an old school NES.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be crazy, yeah.
Yo, man, have the controller look. Oh man, the controller looks like an SNES controller. Would be pretty sick.
I'd have to go with the GameCube because the GameCube's colors were just out there. Purple, the yellow, the red.
It was so 90s.
But yeah, either PS1 or GameCube. Hey, it's a controller. Make it look unique as possible.
So, question for going back to D-Brand, you can put any image on their things, right? Like any image, like that you upload.
Yeah.
Sick. Okay.
Yeah, you can print your face across a controller if you want.
Yeah, because man, I'm just getting some ideas, man. When Brian said Evangelion, that shit triggered me. In a good
Dude,
way.
like I have Kill la Kill skins on mine.
Nice.
I got Ryoko and a Satsuki.
Oh man, yo, I'm gonna get Brian. You know the image where this is from Demon Slayer, where he kills someone with rain, like and it looks like rain.
Ooh, yes.
That'd be pretty sick looking, man.
That'd be cool.
I mean, you dude, even like you just want to talk about like classic moments, like just get a skin for when Goku goes Super Saiyan the first time. Just boom, image capture, skin, done.
I rather have Krillin dying before Goku.
That would be a hilarious and awesome PlayStation skin. You need to do that.
Oh,
I know what you're gonna say, Brian. I know what you're gonna say. Can I guess?
okay, go.
Yamcha?
On the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Now I'm tempted.
That'd be pretty cool.
Just for that.
Yo, you get an Xbox One X and you lay it down instead of standing up and just
Get it with Yamcha. Oh man.
shit.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, we get sponsored by D-Brand.
Yo, man, by the way, we're not sponsored by D-Brand.
Yeah, right?
Not yet.
We need to get
Not
sponsored.
yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just really want that now, actually.
But yeah, my answer was the PS1 two-tone thing. That'd be
Alright.
pretty cool.
Chris, what about you, man?
Oh, the DualSense, I guess either classic colors or if I could, I would do a dual tone black and red. Especially it does on the picture. Is there lighting on the whole controller, like in between the gaps, or no?
It looks like it's behind the touchpad.
Yeah, so I would get it black, but I want that light to be red instead of blue.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Classy.
Cool. All right, let us move on to the next question from Black Metal Gamer. And this one kind of sets a little bit of a trend here. With all these remasters coming out, we're getting a lot of remaster questions. This is going to be tricky because we've answered these before, but we'll try to make them a little different. His one is specific to two companies, though. So he goes with the Final Fantasy VII and Resident Evil 3 remakes. What other remakes would you like to see from Square and Capcom? So those two companies specifically. He says, I'd love to see a new Parasite Eve or Final Fantasy IV for Capcom, Resident Evil 4. And he goes, Tony, don't be mad, but the game needs a quick select with the weapons, and I would love to new shit added. By the way, as an aside, there's a big, heavy rumor that Capcom is indeed doing what I don't want them to do and remaking Resident Evil 4, which is a mistake. Again, I've said this before, no games are perfect, but Resident Evil 4 is a perfect fucking game. But what can you do?
Why are you gonna...
You know why they're doing it though, Brett? Because money, you know.
Just money. Yeah.
I know. It's just like the talks of like, oh, they're gonna reshoot Back to the Future.
Yeah.
What?
It's gonna happen.
Come on, yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to do that. Obviously, Back to the Future, perfect movie. You know they're gonna do it just for money. You know. All right, so yeah, so with these specific things, by the way, it's a tricky question because most of us here will take remasters sometimes, but mostly generally we're speaking, we're like, whatever, you know.
I'd like to see Final Fantasy VI, I suppose.
6, yeah, I'll go with that.
That was a great story that just got lost in time, man. It got buried in the shuffle.
Yeah, because of
I
7,
think that's,
because of 7. Let's just be real here,
dude. No, 7, that story was amazing, but I think 6 might have a better story.
It does, but that's objectively truthful, you know. That's just,
okay. Well, I thought that was just. I thought people were going to fight me on that.
No, you could
Dude,
argue.
The world is literally sundered.
Yeah, dude, that'd be epic. I want either 4 or 6 remade in the style of 7, like the way it is now. That'd be insane. You know?
Dude, I don't even want to play it in the Final Fantasy 15 style, but I would go back for 6. I'm hesitant for 7. I would go in a heartbeat. I'd go back for 6. Like, I don't care. I don't even care. You're gonna let me fight in real time? You're gonna let me fight in one of those like fucking mech armor magica suits? Fuck yes, deal done.
Dude, epic. All right. Okay, so that's my answer too. Because Final Fantasy 6, with the fucking actually it's just Unreal. They're just using Unreal Engine, but that should be crazy. You know. For Capcom, Resident Evil 1, I know they already remade it for the GameCube, but no, I'm not trying to play that shit. I'm sorry. They have it on the PS4 right now. RE Resident Evil
with the tank controls. I feel you.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't do it.
Can't do it. I never even got to the Jill sandwich part. I couldn't do it.
Can I combine the two answers?
Yes.
Can I have Capcom remake Dead Rising in more of a serious Resident Evil tone? Keep some of the slapstick, but make it slower, heavier, bloodier, realer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yo, man, but how are they gonna fit in 1,000 enemies to that one house?
Man, that shit is,
Man,
that shit is tired and played out. Like, it really doesn't matter how many. Like, nobody cares anymore how many NPCs put on the screen.
Yo, man, that's the whole thing about Dead Rising.
That was the whole thing about Dead Rising, right? The crazy amount of zombies.
Yeah, but we live in a post Dead Rising world. Like, that's the game. They're like, okay, literally, like, you made a swarm. Okay, like, what are you gonna give me that's better than a swarm? More? You can't. Maybe they're smarter.
It's a post-apocalyptic game where there's not that many zombies anymore.
But like, yeah, like I didn't like where Dead Rising was going, but I loved the game. Like, it's weird that I'm almost asking them to do what they were doing as the games went on, but it just didn't really seem to work.
Yeah. For me, from Square Enix, I would remake Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. Because I think maybe just me, but I prefer the story from Crisis Core over 7. Also, I don't think it got its due because it was on PSP and not a lot of people played it. So it'd be pretty cool if like more people were able to play it in a new coat of paint. I'm kind of disappointed that they remade 7, but they had a golden opportunity to start with Crisis Core before they even went to the whole 7 stuff, and they could have just done, especially since they're doing episodes, they could have done the Crisis Core in just one episode and then carried on with 3 more that are 7.
I don't know if that would have worked as well for a blatant cash grab.
Why is that?
It would have gotten the immediate cash infusion that they were obviously desperately needing.
But they're doing that anyways.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at the structure, like, they went back to Final Fantasy VII, they did it episodically, they clearly don't have a lot of resources. I don't think they had the time. Like, yes, in a perfect world, if they had the time and the foresight to plan ahead, I completely agree with you. I'm just saying that I think by the time they decided to do Final Fantasy VII, it was one of the shit. If we don't do Final Fantasy VII, we may go under.
It's possible. I think they've always had this under their back pocket. I think remaking Final Fantasy VII was always on the table. It was just about when they were going to do it. Like the whole. I mean, it all sparks with the E3 demo with the PS5.
Yeah, from 2005. Actually, if you go back all the way from the PS3, that fucking tech demo ruined everything.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting thing though, but the one you were talking about, the one from 2015. Remember, they actually developed
Oh
it
no,
like
that's the one.
yeah. Go
That's the
ahead.
one I was talking about. Maybe I misspoke,
Okay,
but I was
yeah.
talking about the PS3 tech demo.
Yeah. That's been in the works for. It's just funny how Square Enix, and we're gonna talk more about Final Fantasy. We got a couple of questions about it, but it's just funny how they were so adamantly against doing the remake of Final Fantasy VII, right? And then they even at one point they were like, "Yo, that's our break glass in case of emergency type deal." They said it, and lately now they're like, "Yo, we just realized that all the original guys who made this game are getting fucking old. If we're not gonna do this now, we're gonna have to let the younger guys do it. So we better do this shit now." So that's kind of interesting. They admit it's like, "Yo, we're getting fucking old. We may die. We better do this shit now. If we're gonna do it right." So it's kind of So for you guys who don't know, the main core dudes responsible for Final Fantasy VII are back, doing the remake and stuff, which is kind of cool. Also, I didn't know that Sakaguchi didn't really have a big hand in Seven. I thought he did. Apparently, he didn't. Sakaguchi is the guy who created Final Fantasy series.
Looks like Sakaguchi got Saka out.
Yeah. There was also this other thing. Who's the Tabata? Right? Is he the one doing it now? Who the fuck's the director of this shit? But anyway, so he was the Tetsuya Nomura. So he did the character designs of the original Final Fantasy VII, right? And he assumed, okay, I'm going to be doing some kind of like backup, producing role to the guy Katase who actually directed the game. But Katase kept asking Nomura questions like, hey, where do you want to do this? What do you want to do that? And Nomura's like, why are you asking me these questions? You're the director. And then Nomura, they were at a meeting, and then at the end of the presentation said, Final Fantasy VII directed by Nomura. He was like, I'm directing this shit now? He's like, yeah, what do you think I was asking those fucking questions? It's like, I assumed you knew, bruh. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, man, what the fuck was I don't even know what we're talking about. Anyway.
Capcom, Final Fantasy, and Square Enix remakes. Yeah. For Capcom, it's kind of more difficult. Because it's like, you can't really remake the fighting games because those really stand on their own. Like, you can play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 right now, and it's still going to be as good. And Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2.
Give me motherfucking X-Men vs. Street Fighter, man. I've been asking for this shit, Capcom. What the fuck? It's do a bundle, right? We got X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, and fucking just those two, and Marvel Superheroes, and X-Men Trilogy. We got all four of those games in one. Bam, you got it all covered. Got it.
Can I answer for Brian?
Yes, sure. For
Capcom, it's Deep Down.
Damn, that's what E-Man said right now.
Oh wait, you did?
Yeah, he just said it right now. He goes, Capcom should remake Deep Down.
Yo, Manny.
Yo,
Read
man.
minds think alike.
Yo, how you gonna remake something that wasn't even made? What's going on, Reggie? He says Breath of Fire. Ooh, okay, that's a good one right there.
Shit, they made that Square?
Yeah, no, that was Capcom.
Capcom. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, remember we're talking about Square and Capcom games here.
Okay. I guess if I wanted Capcom to remake something, and sticking with the Resident Evil stuff, definitely not 4, but I'd say remake 0 with the RE engine. Like, do that one.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
Resident Evil 0.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I would like the next one to be 8, right?
Yes.
But they're on the remake train.
Village.
But they don't need to touch 4, 5, and 6. Like, 4 is perfect. 5 and 6 are there. They're kind of modern enough, right? 6 is trash. Like, don't even touch that game ever again. And like Tony said, you could remake the first game again, but with RE engine and over the shoulder stuff, and then 0. Like, as a matter of fact, you could combine them. You could combine those two into one package because they're like almost. One is a continuation of 0. Like, 0 is just a prequel story, and it leads right into the first game. So they could do that. For Square, shit. I'd say Vagrant Story. I'd like to see come back.
Ooh.
That game didn't have a sequel or nothing since PlayStation, and I like that game. If they could make it a little faster though, it's very slow paced. It's like a tactical RPG except you're controlling one dude, so it's kind of weird how it works. Like Parasite Eve, it worked like that.
That would be crazy, and not really a remake, but it would be nice if Square brings Bravely Default to the Switch. I'm not trying to play it on my 3DS, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go back to that shit. All right. Did everybody answer?
I answer for Brian.
Okay, Brian. What's yours then?
I don't really have an answer. Again, I've not really been a Capcom fan for that long, so
So it is deep down.
started around like PS3. So yeah, there's no point of me even answering this.
All right, fair enough. All right, yeah, talk not so well known games. Yeah, hold on. What are you guys saying in the chat? I don't want to twist it. We're not talking about Sony games right now, bro. But maybe later. Actually, yeah, we are going to talk about Sony games right now. Reaction Gift King. So he asked 3 questions. I'm going to allow it this week because we didn't get a lot, but I threw this one up the queue because it's still related to remakes. So he says, what 5th generation games would you guys like to see remade like Resident Evil 3 and Final Fantasy 7? 5th generation means PS1, Nintendo 64, and Sega Saturn. And he says the Atari and the 3DO don't count. Damn, bro. It's like that. Manny, you gotta come. You gotta say some fucking 3DO games that you want remastered. Atari Jaguar was trash though. Let's just be real. So yeah, let's go into the way back machine.
For PS1 games, Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, right there you go. Remake that shit. I want Battle Arena Toshinden, man. Remake that shit.
Oh shit, I never played that.
And okay, I'm gonna go down the line here for PS1. Yeah, remake that one. For Nintendo 64, I want Super Mario 64, but in the style of Mario Odyssey. That'd be fucking crazy. With those proper controls and stuff for the Sega Saturn. You already know, man. You already know. Panzer Dragoon Saga, motherfucker. Give me that shit. All fucking day, man. Oh my god. By the way, there's a rumor going around right now. Somebody's actually working on it. Sega's got somebody work on it.
Oh shit,
man.
Wait. So what did we get on the Switch?
We're getting Panzer Dragoon, the first game.
The first game.
Yeah. This Panzer Dragoon Saga is the RPG.
You said, I didn't hear Saga.
Panzer Dragoon Saga. Give me that motherfucker, man. That'd be awesome. So yeah, those are my 3 games. So yeah, let's go down the line here. Carlos, man.
For PS1, I would remake. Well, let me start with N64.
Yeah.
N64, I would remake Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie.
You mean?
Because we need a platforming Banjo Kazooie game.
Yeah, you kind of got that. You got ukulele.
Well, you could. I never play ukulele.
Yeah, I got play it. It's that. It's pretty much that.
Damn.
Okay.
My man Reggie said GoldenEye with Modern Warfare remake graphics and gameplay. Whoa, that'd be crazy.
That'd be interesting. I don't know how that worked though, but for PS1, I would. What do I like on PS1?
Damn.
I don't know if Ape Escape maybe.
Ape Escape.
They've never. I mean, they made that one. I don't think they made another one.
Yeah. By the way,
did they have like a million sequels?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. I just played the first one.
By the way, even though I do want Battle Arena Toshinden, I'm going to give the obvious answer for the PS1 game that needs to have a remaster on the level of FF7 and Resident Evil 3. Motherfucking Metal Gear Solid, man.
Oh yes.
No, that's my answer too.
Bro, could you, on the Fox engine? Get out of here, man.
Yo, man, over the top Fox engine?
Yeah. Yo. Give me that shit. By the way, I saw somebody do that on Twitter. Like, they had the original box of Final Fantasy VII, right? And under it, they had the new box. Then they had the box of Resident Evil 3. They had the new box. And then under it, they had Metal Gear Solid. He's like, yo, what's up?
Yeah, that's a really good answer, too.
Yeah, that's a paramount answer.
Yeah.
Because, like, from Metal Gear 1 and 2, it just changed a lot.
Yeah. And, think about it. The way I see it, the best 2 games on PlayStation were Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid, right? We got one of them. Let's get the other one, man. Complete it, man. And you know what? Resident Evil 2. That's another great PS2 game that got remade,
Yeah.
There you go, man. crazy right now. All right.
I don't have an answer for Saturn.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. I know.
Saturn.
Yeah, I may be the only one with Saturn fucking shit here. Chris.
All right. Well, for if I'll just go with the systems I had.
Yeah.
So, and Nintendo 64, I would say if you could do a like an Unreal Engine version of Turok, like a modern version of Turok Dinosaur Hunter, that would be good. Or do the 3 games, because the 3 games kind of similar. On PlayStation, I mean, Tony had the ultimate answer. The only one I could throw in was Vagrant Story was the other game I liked on PS1. I can't think of another PS1 game. I mean, that's RE0. I could throw that in. Oh no, that was on PS1. Original Resident Evil was. Let's see. I didn't have Saturn. You know what? But at Manny's house, I think I played Space Hulk on 3DO.
Damn,
I
bringing
like
it
that
back.
game.
My man says Space Hulk. I haven't thought about that game in years, man.
Yeah, I like that game, man. So bring that back.
Although I remember I was mad at that game for a long time, and I think you could guess why. Because I consider it false advertising.
Yeah, it's not the Hulk, man. What is this shit?
It's like that ain't the Hulk. What is this? Oh man, yo, Jordan, I'm gonna add your question in there, sir. That's appropriate for the subject. All right.
Can Brett go next? Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead, Brett. You go ahead next, man.
Oh, didn't you say you were gonna answer for me?
All right.
Damn.
For PlayStation, this is only for PlayStation 1. GTA 1 and 2.
Oh wow.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I did really enjoy those games. The old school top-down version. Sorry, I've been making dinner a little bit. Being completely real here. Give me the conditions again, because I haven't been able to pick them up in context.
Oh no, just what games from the 5th generation would you like to see remade? That's the PS1, the N64, and the Sega Saturn. That generation.
Let's see. And I've said it before. I think it was called Azure Dreams. There was it was almost like a tower game that was one of my favorite games on PlayStation. Like, weirdly enough, there were a ton of really great RPGs. This was one where like you had like kind of a familiar spirit, which it kind of took a little bit of a Pokemon turn, but we were grinding your way up a tower, and like there were no rest points, and there were no save points, and every once in a while like you could just bail from the tower or you died up there and left your shit up there, kind of very Dark Souls-y kind of thing. Really great game. I don't think it ever got the praise it deserves. I'd love to see them remake that. N64, man, that's a hard game. That's a hard thing to answer. Like, GoldenEye, sure. What? Go ahead.
Yo, man.
My man just took the deepest shit right now.
I'm changing my answer.
Excuse me?
Brett, I don't know.
Go ahead.
Yo, man. Star Fox 64, man.
There you go.
Star Fox 64, man. Man. After Star Fox 64 has just never been the same. And Star Fox 64 is a GOAT. Follow me, Fox. Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
Secret of
Evermore.
Was that a PS1 game? Or is that generation?
No. That was Super. That was SNES,
Super
not
Nintendo.
N64.
Don't worry, that could be your answer for the next question.
Okay.
Yeah. Manny, by the way, he disqualified the 3DO for this answer. So sorry.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Yo, I got another N64 one.
Oh, go ahead, bro.
But they already did it though. Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, you mean the original one?
Yeah, the OG, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because remember, Final Fantasy 7 was supposed to get was supposed to be on the N64, but Square was like, "Yo, we're not trying to do fucking cartridges, bro." Fuck that.
Yeah, man, we're gonna need 10 cartridges.
We're gonna need 10 cartridges. As a matter of fact, I was watching this video and they were talking about how, because remember the N64 was supposed to have a CD add-on. They estimated, I don't know how, that CD must have been bullshit. Square estimated they would need 30 discs for this fucking game.
Shit.
Like, damn. You know, that must have been some horse shit. Oh, damn, man. He said Star Fox is overrated.
Yo, man.
Oh, hot take.
But have you played Star Fox 64?
Oh man. Oh god, what is going on right now? All right, moving on to Jordan Dog 93. Do you think next gen will see remakes? Absolutely.
Oh, you kidding me?
Is there another part to this question,
Yeah,
or
bro, that's it. That's the
It's a trick question.
Oh man, yo Jordan, man. People. It doesn't matter what if it's 2020 or 2100. People are gonna be greedy, man, and people are gonna be hungry because people, Final Fantasy VII is a perfect game to the majority of people who played it, but obviously they still wanted a remake. So it's people want what they want, and people sell what they know is gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, don't bet on a lot of remakes next gen.
All right. Yeah, they're remakes. They coming. I never liked flight games much. I'm sorry. That's what Manny just said. Hey,
Did you like Panzer Dragoon, Manny?
I don't think he never really cared for it. He didn't have a Saturn though. He just watched me and Mike play. Yo, Carlos. By the way, it's cool that I can say Mike, and you know exactly what I'm talking about now.
Yo, man, I know who Mike is.
Me and Mike were the big Saturn heads back in the day. All
Nice.
right. This one is from Chris R29. By the way, shout out to him. That's actually, for you guys who don't know, that's actually my oldest nephew, man. Chris. So shout out to him. I'm going to modify your question a little bit, though, bro, because he asked us what game do we want to see remade, but we've answered that already. So I'm going to twist it around and change it a little bit and go a little fun. What obscure old school game do you want to see remade? Like a game nobody may even remember. Let's go with that.
Damn.
General Chaos for the Sega Genesis?
Man, this motherfucker went deep. I never even heard of that game, bro. Please regale us on this one. Yo, my man said, yo, I'm going deep in this bag.
No, dude, you want to know your game? Okay, boom, there you go, Mom. General Chaos. It was this weird little like 3v versus 3 kind of like battle game where there were different kinds of soldiers and you could pick one, and the idea was to kind of push forward and kill all the enemies in the game, kind of like a precursor to XCOM kind of deal. And the second player could jump in, so like it was you and like it was like 2 specialists or like 2 regular guys and a grenadier. It could be up to 4 people on your team, and whoever you weren't playing was controlled by the AI and could jump between them. But if you had another person playing with you, you could both like play specialists or whatever and play at the same time. So me and my buddies would constantly sit around and play, just roll through that game the same way. Like, man, it was like that. God damn it, Gunstar Heroes.
Oh, was that really like super underground though, or is it just popular?
No. The same way that you would just sit down and run through the entire game of Gunstar Heroes, and then they're like, "Cool, you want to do that tomorrow? Sure." Mm-hmm. Like the way that you that was how General Chaos was. Like I can't tell you how many times I beat that game.
Damn.
Just because you sit down, like play for a couple hours, boom, you've run through the whole thing with a buddy. It was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, usually do that back in the day. Yeah.
That that Gunstar Heroes and Mutant League Football, dude.
Ooh.
Old school go-tos.
See, these motherfuckers don't know, man.
Yeah, people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
These motherfuckers don't know, man. At least thank you for naming games I did hear about. At least. All right.
Yeah, well, I figure I had to pull a little bit more mainstream instead of just being like, "Hey, this guy just played some game that nobody's ever heard of."
Yeah. By the way, yeah. Manny says, he says to him, "Hurdy-gurdy." Let's see who remembers that motherfucking game. That was a PS2 game, and then of course the one he's always touting about, the Bouncer. Manny likes the Bouncer. That's a Square-Enix game too, isn't it? I believe it is.
Maybe.
Oh no, it definitely was.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was drinking my Red Bull.
Yeah, because they have Square-Enix character design, so yeah, that was Square-Enix for sure. All right, Chris, old school obscure game that you would like to see get remade.
Let's see. One game on Genesis that I liked was called Ranger X.
Oh shit, I remember that one. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I love that game. I thought it was cool. He was kind of like a transformer, and he could merge with his cycle. You become like this giant cycle and go around and shoot. It was kind of like Blaster Master and Macross mixed together. I love it.
Makuros.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Like that.
Oh man, yo, I'm forgetting the name of the fucking game now. Chris, what was the name of that game I had you buy for me? The Nintendo game?
Oh, Demon Sword.
Demon Sword. Remake that shit. That'd be insane, you know? Like I don't know how different it would be now because there's like a million samurai games now, but you want to go like if that shit is so old school and obscure. I forgot the fucking name of the shit, you know? And Chris got me the card. I'll bring that up on the show next time. That was dope. So yeah, that's my answer. Demon Sword. You know, it's a generic ass name too, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's technically what Legend of Kage 2.
Yeah,
whatever.
pretty much. You know, it's funny because everybody remembers Legend of Kage, nobody remembers Demon Sword. I remember I rented the fuck out of that game from Blockbuster back in the day, man. You know, Contra would be nice, man, but you know, Manny, I'm not gonna say anything more about that. Fuck me up right now, man.
Oh shit.
Yo, if you listen to the show, you know Manny and Contra. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Oh man.
I have a question.
What's up?
Is Conker's Bad Fur Day an obscure game?
No.
Ooh, that is a good one though.
That is a good one. That is a good one though. But I don't think that's
Damn.
obscure because it's like it's infamous, you know?
Yeah, it's a rare game too, so wait, is it a rare game?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Rare made that.
Yeah, so I was just thinking it's obscure. Like I'm pretty
It
sure
may not be obscure, but it's rare.
Yeah, man, that was almost a mic drop. Gotta give you credit, bro. Because I mean, if you ask anyone under like 26 what Conquers Bad Fur Day, they probably don't know what it is. But I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something else that's obscure. I don't know.
You want an obscure Square game? There's an old NES game called King's Knight.
Oh shit.
An old RPG.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That predates Final Fantasy. It's very good. I have a copy of it.
Yo, you know there's that one dude listening to the show right now going, "Oh shit! Yeah, man, that was my boy back in the day, son." He's losing his mind right now, man. Shout out to you, brother. keep the flame alive. Oh God. All right, Brian. And by Brian, for you, I'll allow you for any generation because you're like 12 or something, you know.
Well, to answer the previous question, I would have gone with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
I mean that's not obscure, but whatever. You know, you're not that you're not that into old, like go ahead.
No, I mean like for like the last question, like
okay.
7th.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But this one I have nothing because I just don't know any obscure games that deserve a remaster at this point in time. So hence I got nothing, Chief.
All right, man. By the way, Manny, Skies Over Katie doesn't count, man. That's not obscure. Everybody knows that shit. That does deserve a
sequel.
Yeah,
everyone from our age ranges knows it, but I don't think anybody else below it.
Dreamcast darling, man.
Yeah, man. But that's not obscure though, man. That game was a hit.
No.
You know,
because think about it, like like when you guys talk about like the SNES and NES games, there it's like obscure games. It's like they're obscure because not a lot of people know them from this generation, and I think we're getting to the point where like a lot of kind of at the time mainstream N64 PS1 games. I think those are starting to become obscure to the today's crowd, except for the ones that obviously are franchises that still live today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I'm like, if it was still a hit back in the day, that doesn't count as obscure, you know? Like, even a
okay, I see.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're talking about a Nintendo game and it's Super Mario Brothers, that shit ain't obscure, you know?
Yeah, right.
Everybody knows
I got one more.
Yeah, but nobody knows Demon Sword, you know? Go ahead, man.
Yeah. On Super Nintendo, there was a Blizzard game called Blackthorn. I love that game. It was basically like Turok if it was side scrolling and he shot aliens with a giant shotgun.
Oh shit.
And I don't know, that game was so simple and I loved it, but that game, no, I mean, Blizzard would probably deny it exists today, you know.
Yeah. Manny says Lucina Quest and Garden Ward, they were old school 3D ORPG. See, that's obscure.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
I never even heard of them.
Yeah, see, exactly.
You guys remember Secret of Mana?
Yeah, that's not obscure
Yeah.
though. That game was a hit. Yeah. That game was a hit.
That game was dope.
Yeah, man. All right, moving on here. Damien. All right, so
real quick.
What's up?
I mean, it not only is Secret of Mana not obscure, it was remade this gen.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was.
What about Evermore though?
No, that has not.
I don't think so.
Yet.
Because there were two different games, right? They're not the same game in the same series. There were two actual separate games, and Secret of Evermore was overshadowed by Secret of Mana.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Because is Secret of Mana which one is the time traveling game with the dog?
I don't remember a dog in Secret of Mana.
What's in that?
That's Evermore right there.
Okay.
Yep. And see, this is what it always comes down to. Be like, because I'll forget which one is what. I'll be like, yeah, man. Like when you go back into like the Roman period, the dog turns into a poodle. People are like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, oh no, that's Evermore. Secret of Evermore. My bad. Sorry.
Okay.
But like, yeah, like you kind of like looked like a Dragon Ball Z character. You started in the prehistoric age with like your wolf dog, and you got thrown through time and like went to like the future and like Roman era, and like every time like you and your dog both changed forms, like you'd be in different clothes, and like your robot dog in the future, and like when you were in Rome, like your dog turned into poodle, like you were like wearing a toga, like you kind of like morphed with the times. Okay, apparently this game is way more obscure than I thought that it was.
Well, no, I never played it. I mean,
I know the name. That's about it. You know.
It's the one with the giant ant on the cover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I mean, I have it.
That game's amazing. If you haven't played it, you should.
I like the song Battle of Evermore.
Yeah, I got you. I understood that reference.
Yo, man,
I got that reference.
Oh man, I was like, no.
Oh man. All right. Where the hell are we right now? All right, Damien. So before his questions, he says, my condolences to the panel. I can't imagine a world without my mom. And I say the panel because I know you guys are all family. I'll keep Amelia with my prayers. So Manny, there you go. Damien is giving you his shouts out, man. So that's cool that you were here to hear that. Thank you, Damien. Appreciate that, brother. Damien, man, I know we get into it sometimes, brother, but we appreciate you, man. Seriously.
Yeah, man. Even if you are from the British Virgin Islands and not the American ones.
Oh man, Virgin Island. All right. So his first question is, okay. Actually, he goes, this question is mainly for Brett. So Brett, man, are you ready for this?
Bring it. Let's do this.
Obviously we'll all jump in, but Brett, you go first. Okay. Crossplay has become a huge topic in gaming over the past 2 years, moving into next gen with the consoles having such a different makeup in terms of speed, where PS5 will possibly have no load times, which could be an advantage over even the PC crowd. Do you think it will cripple crossplay? Brett, this is definitely up your alley.
No, look, these people pay so much attention to balance that the small amount of balance needed for crossplay is barely going to register on their radar. They're more worried about somebody abusing, a weapon in a build that's super obscure because it gives them 1 million fucking damage kind of thing. Like, they will put safeguards in place to make sure that playing field is leveled. The only problem becomes I know I'm on my soapbox here, so let me dust it off for a second. If you do crossplay with PC, the problem becomes that control leaves the developer's hands, and they're not able to properly manage the community anymore. But that's not really an issue with console-to-console gaming. So they'll make sure that it's preloaded, or they're going to work it. They're going to build it. Honestly, if history is any teacher, they'll build it towards the lowest common denominator. And that'll be that. They'll build it towards the weaker console if it's meant to be crossplay. That's how Fortnite is. That's how all the games are. So, no, I don't think it's a problem.
I'm going to agree with Brett on this one. What about the rest of you guys? You think this could be a problem? Yes, no, maybe. I'm asking a yes or no question.
I don't know what the question is.
Didn't you hear when I
Well,
fucking said it, motherfucker?
You wanted a yes or no answer? My answer is no.
Yeah, damn. Carlos was fucking doing something else, man. So yeah, do you think that the PS5's like faster loading speeds are gonna, give it an unfair advantage during crossplay?
No, I
No.
don't think so.
Because the levels are, I mean, if you're playing competitive multiplayer, you already loaded the level when you're playing it. Unless unless the other competitor has really bad, performance, then maybe. But
Well,
I,
usually
I
games will scale and balance out based on that. Like it'll make everyone wait till everyone's loaded in, right?
yeah,
So even if you're on PS5 and you're out of the lobby and in the map, it's gonna hold the map. It's gonna stop the match until everyone is in sync, right? And
yeah,
then you
Mm-hmm.
play. So it wouldn't affect anything. They'll account for that. There's not
yeah.
gonna be a problem.
You're not gonna play Warzone or Fortnite, and you're gonna load the level and jump out of the plane while everyone's still loading the level. Like that won't happen. So yeah, I don't think it'll affect anything really.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I think they're gonna make it so everybody's on an even playing field like they do now.
Yeah.
Because think about it, they have to make even now in Fortnite's a perfect example. It's like they have to make sure that guys playing on their phones are able to play with the guys playing on high-end PCs and shit.
Yeah. Think about like Monster Hunter, right? Even when we all ready up, like Tony has a better PlayStation 4 than I do. His shit would load faster than me. It waits till everybody's ready to depart before
Yeah.
you go to the
I
map.
mean,
So.
if in Monster Hunter, if anything gives you the competitive advantage, is being born in Japan.
Oh shit! Being of Japanese ancestry,
Yeah, man. Those people don't play around, man. They're fucking amazing.
They have way more kaiju.
They really do. They really do have way more kaiju experience. Oh man! All right, man. Let's move on. Fuck, are we right now? Oh yeah, Final Fantasy. All right. So this is for whoever has played the Final Fantasy VII Remake. By the way, am I the only one on the panel who's played it so far?
Remember what we talked about with
Yeah.
the "Am I the only one?" questions?
Yeah.
Oh, is that shit out already?
No. Yeah, it is out. It came out on Friday.
Yeah, I think you're the only one, Tony.
Okay. Played it and beat. I don't have a collar, but I'm popping it anyway and beat it. Holla at your boy. All right. So this is for whoever has played the Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's me. Damn, this game is my. Whoa. Hold on, Damien. Did I read this correctly?
Is he gonna drop the mic on us?
Yes. Okay. So Damien, avowed Xbox fanatic. We could call you that, Damien. You love Xbox. That's fair to say. He's saying that a PS4 exclusive is his game of the year.
That's a mic. Put the mic to the floor. He spiked it.
Damn,
man.
Damien is like that, bro.
Damn.
Listen,
well,
Damien,
it makes sense because Xbox isn't going to release any exclusive games anytime soon. So.
Yo, see, I can fuck you up right now, man. Oh god,
they put it on olive branch, and you just fucking slapped his face.
He slapped the shit, burned it, and then pissed on it, bro. Like, damn, Carlos.
This is Sparta. Earth and water.
It was clearly a joke, even though I meant it. I don't want to.
Yo, oh my god.
Even though it came from my heart, I didn't. My intentions were not to insult anyone or any piece of plastic.
But Carlos, you ain't lying though.
Oh, yo, man,
I'm just saying. Anyway, we're gonna get accused of being ponies, man. Anyway, so this is he goes, this is my game of the year. This is a true remake that was blown. That has Damien is like that, bro.
Oh shit!
I haven't even gotten to the whole question yet. Like each sentence is blowing my mind. He says this is a true remake that has blown away the original.
Oh, dude. What?
That's hey. I'm just reading the question, man. All right, Damien. Okay, so he goes, anyway, my question is based on how things have been changed in this game. Which character who is introduced later on in the series are you looking forward to seeing the most? For me, it's Sid. I want to see his reaction to the female characters. The lady in red who worked for Shinra. Damn, that's what he says. Yo, the one with the big titties and shit. Yeah, man, crazy. So by the way, I'll bring in the rest of you guys in this one. What other characters are you looking forward to seeing in the remake or the the installments?
That haven't showed up in the first first episodic remake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so basically everybody that you meet outside of Midgar, who are you most looking forward to meeting?
Vincent?
Who the hell shows up after Midgar?
That was my answer, Brett. I want to see Vincent. Vincent's cool, man.
Yeah, Vincent.
Yeah, Vincent. Vincent's dope. By the way, kind of off topic, but still on it. I've seen a bunch of these Final Fantasy VII videos lately, and everybody keeps saying Kate C. I thought it was Kate Sith.
Yeah, so did I.
The fuck are they talking about? Oh, Kate C. I'm like, fuck you. What? I'll allow Aerith, but Kate C. Nah, son, not on my watch.
Kate Sith.
Sith, man. Fucking
like Star Wars. Sith.
Yes, a Sith. Yeah. Kate Sith, that would be cool, especially since Kate Sith is kind of in this game. If you know the story, you know what I'm referring to. You know. Yeah, so Vincent's a good one. Chris, who are you looking forward to seeing?
Was Red 13 after?
Oh, he's introducing this one.
Oh, he's introduced? I guess it would be Vincent then. Yeah. I want to see that vampire motherfucker come back. This bitch is brooding in a coffin.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's like, yo, this dude is crazy right now. You know?
Well, this
goth motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sephiroth shows up.
Oh yeah,
like you see the thing. But
you see him, man.
Yeah, you
don't really.
Carlos, no, he doesn't count. I can't spoil it, but he does not count. He does not count. You know.
No,
he does not count. So pick somebody else. How about Yuffie, man?
Bahamut.
Yo, man, Yuffie.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't he a summon?
He's a summon. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I don't care. I still love that motherfucker. And every Final Fantasy game, I'm like, when.
No, I'm with Brett on this one. Bahamut is the shit.
Yeah.
Like when he shows up, you know it's about to get real. All right, what other characters? Did we name them all?
I guess.
Yeah, because there's Yuffie, there's Vincent, and Sid, I guess, you know. But I don't know, Sid's in every Final Fantasy. That's not really anything big, you know. But that would be crazy. All right, moving on to the next question.
Oh,
what's up? What up?
Someone dropped and came back.
Oh, Brian.
Mr. Brian. Well, I don't think Brian. You don't care about Final Fantasy, do you?
No. Plus, that you guys had my answer of Yuffie. So.
All right. Yeah. So there you go. All right, and the next question from Damien is this one's another one for me, I guess. What was the biggest surprise change for you in the Final Fantasy VII Remake? He says, for me, it was that you are just a small part of Avalanche and that there is a full army of rebels. In the original, it was only the small group that was Avalanche. Is that true? Because I don't remember. Because the way I remember it, Avalanche was pretty much just Barret and Tifa and
Yeah, I thought it was just them.
Yeah, because in this one, and he is true, in this one, you're just a cell of Avalanche. There's like a bigger resistance group that you're just a small part of it.
No, I was about to say, you're a cell.
Is that how it was in the original, Brett? You were a cell too?
You were a cell. Yeah. You were.
Yeah.
You didn't know. You may be the last one. You may be the only one. There may be other ones out there. You all act independently.
Yeah, that's in there too. Like everybody's acting independently, but you do get to see the larger, rebel forces and Avalanche. Or at least the guys that you're like, yo, what the fuck, man? Why you guys, jumping into our shit? That's kind of interesting. Here's the thing. I can't really answer this question without spoilers because there are some things I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. They're expanding on that, but I can't say that without spoilers. So, by the way, we're going to be doing a spoiler alert for this. Bringing it back, people.
Oh, what? Excuse me?
Yeah. I've talked to two guys specifically. One of them is Gary Swaby. Actually, and the other one's my friend Jonathan Gibbs, who were also on our Final Fantasy 15 spoiler alert. So I'm talking to them. So if any other you guys want to jump in on that when we do it, no set date at the moment because we want everybody to finish the game and thoroughly enjoy it. If you guys play it and beat it, you're welcome to join us, man. So we're gonna geek the fuck out. We're Final Fantasy. We're gonna go over every little change, every little detail, man. It's gonna be nuts. You know.
Yeah, I'll probably start it next week. So.
Cool, man. All right, so yeah, I can't, Damien, I would love to answer this. I do have answers for you, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So look out for that episode coming soon, sir. All right, so let me move on here. I'm still doing the Chirons, man. Hey, man, you still in there, bro? Yeah, he's still. Damn, Bahamut is in the remake. He's not in this one. There's only 6 summons at the moment. You have Ifrit, Shiva, the Fat Chocobo, Leviathan, and there's 2 others that I'm forgetting, but Bahamut is not in this. I used to call him Bahamut, by the way, but I think it's Bahamut. Whatever. They have the Baha. He might be in the. Listen, I don't know if he's in. He's gonna be in there eventually. You already know that. Actually, no. I can't answer. I have an answer for this, but I don't want to spoil anything. Sketch. There's a reason he is in the sketch in the art book, but I can't answer it.
Sketch. He's
in the sketch. He's a sketch, man. All right, Reaction King or Reaction Gift King, Mr. Goose. I don't know where the fuck he's at right now, man. He's usually in here. All right. Anyway, yes, Manny. Spoiler alert. We'll be back, man. So when the time comes, I will hit you up for some art. All right. Anyway, first question: how important are? This is a good one. How important are first impressions to you as a gamer, Brett? This is what we were talking about the other day, man. Okay. How important are first impressions to you as a gamer, and how willing are you to go back to a game that was a letdown at launch? Many games this generation have come out and have been a complete letdown, a total disaster. Think No Man's Sky, Rainbow Six Siege, Fallout 76, Destiny, Sea of Thieves, etc. But with time, investment, and development efforts, the aforementioned games have changed their gameplay experiences entirely. So, yeah, Brett, why don't you go first?
Generally, I'm pretty willing to go back to these.
Oh, you cut out right there. Ooh, what are you eating?
I'm eating bacon.
Ooh, that's some man food.
Anyway, generally I'm pretty willing to go back to those. I wasn't willing to go back to No Man's Sky, but that was for personal reasons that I won't get into. A lot of times I think it does develop the game. The problem is that the console community is still kind of figuring out how that works. And what I mean by that is on PC, games aren't time locked the way they are on consoles. They don't become old news. They support healthy communities longer. And a lot of these games that build are online service games. So without a player base, it doesn't matter how fancy the playground is. There's no other kids to play with. So you just end up like king of an empty world, and that's not fun. No matter how good the gameplay is, and I've been there myself, and I've been on the receiving end of people trying to give me like, "Hey man, like welcome back to play No Man's Sky." Like, yeah, I got you. That game, the bug bit you. It's a good game now, but you can't get anybody to play with you because there's no fucking player base. So I'm willing to go back, and I think slowly but surely, console games are getting a longer lifespan, so it's becoming a more viable option. And we're seeing more and more games do this. I mean, I'm already excited to get back into Fallout 76 and see if they've improved it at all. Wastelanders is supposed to be this, pretty big thing, and I've heard a shockingly good amount of things from people who have played it and reviewed it, which makes me intrigued. Trust me, I'm sure we'll be talking about it, but
yeah,
the amount of haters that have kind of seemed to do a 180 and be like, well, obviously, and it's the things that people are saying, like, well, obviously the original Fallout 76 was just kind of a beta that they're using to launch a Fallout Online that's going to be a multi-year service. Like, okay, so basically you're saying the game that was there before was an unpolished alpha/beta, but the game that's there now is something that's better. So even when people are hating on it, they're admitting it's better.
It's interesting.
So, yeah, and that's I've noticed that with a lot of things, and stuff like that. So I'm willing to, and I'm hoping the rest of the community is more willing to, because that makes me more willing to, which in turn makes a bigger community grow. and it becomes a feedback cycle. So I guess the answer is, if it's populated and fun, yeah, I'll totally go back. If I go back to a ghost town, nah, sorry.
All right, Carlos, man, what about you?
I guess for me, first impressions are everything. So if a game does not really deliver when I pay for it, like immediately after I pay for it, then it doesn't really. I don't really have the patience to get back again to give it a second chance, just because I don't really have the time, and I don't have the time and patience, and I have so many other hobbies that I really, and so many other games that I could easily be doing, and playing and stuff that I don't know, like second chances really. I don't see a point of second chances with video games, since I already paid for them and they had a chance to, to impress me. Like the Division, I couldn't play it. It had so many issues when I first played it. I didn't really like it. It wasn't really close to what the first gameplay trailer was. At least the feeling. Also, like Destiny is another one that I played it for a little bit and I didn't like it and I just dropped it. No Man's Sky is another one that I did the same thing. Sea of Thieves. There's a lot of games that I just I gave them a chance. Mass Effect Andromeda, and that's coming from one of probably my favorite franchise of all time. And it's like, yeah, I gave Mass Effect Andromeda like a couple of hours of my attention, and it really disappointed me. So I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter how much DLC is going to come in; it's not going to fix this, and I'm just going to move on. Heck, I Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption 2. I didn't get to play, like, beat it. I played maybe like 4 hours of it. I had my trip, and then I kind of just missed out. And that's a great game. So just imagine, I don't even give great games a second chance most of the time. Just imagine bad games at launch.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, my answer is pretty much like yours, but I'm kind of just gonna stick to games that get better over time. No, you only get one chance with me when it comes to a game. If I don't care how much better you get, if you don't impress me the first time around, you lost your fucking chance. I have too many games to play, too many other things I'd rather be doing than wasting my time with that shit. So I'm not doing that. And perfect example for me, this generation, the biggest one, and I've said this a million times, Chris, you already know what I'm going to say, motherfucking Street Fighter 5, man. You guys lost me. The game as it stands
right now, one for me too.
Yeah, the game as it stands, this moment as I'm speaking, is fantastic. Probably the best fighting game of this generation. I don't give a fuck because they lost me that first time around. I'm no. Yep. You should have had it right the first time. Then I would have actually invested time. I'm not trying to. No, fuck that. Wasting my fucking time, man. I'm not doing that shit. No Man's Sky. I played it. I played a shit ton of it too, hoping it could get better. It didn't, and I eventually over time, they did add a bunch of shit. Too late, too little, too late. Don't give a fuck. I'm not doing that. There's too many fucking games vying for my attention right now. Too much shit I got to review. Books I'd rather read. Comics. I'm not wasting my time with that shit. So you had your fucking chance.
Question for you, Tony. Where is the line on that?
What do you mean the line?
Okay, to me the line gets a little blurry when you have things like, let's compare Fallout 76 Wastelanders, an overhaul to the base game that changes things completely, to Division 2, which is a continuation of a game that didn't reach its peak until late in life. To me, pun intended, the division between Division 1 and 2 wasn't all that much. It wasn't... When you do a game as a service, it reminds me more of an expansion pack, like back in World of Warcraft days, when you would go out, you'd play World of Warcraft, you'd subscribe monthly, and then every year or two, you go buy this big $60 expansion, which basically overhauled the game. And that kind of made it a new game, but also not a new game. So to me, the line is a little blurred. So I find it a little weird personally that when a game gets a complete overhaul, to me it almost kind of makes it a new game. Almost as much as, say, going from the Division 1 and 2. And the Division 1 started as hot trash, but you were willing to give Division 2 a chance. Do you just have to slap a 2 on there and sell it as a second disc to make you happy, or where is that line in the
Not
sand?
really happy, but I am more willing to give it a sequel a chance. I did the same thing with the Destiny. Destiny, the first game, I was very disappointed by that, but they put out a sequel. I'm like, all right, I'll give the sequel a shot. That disappointed me too. But
Watch Dogs.
Here's the thing. I wasn't that disappointed by Watch Dogs like as much as I was with Destiny. Destiny very much annoyed me. The Division did as well, but both of those, and the other factor with both those games is their respective combat was so good. I was like, I'll give it another shot. I'll give it a shot. But Brett, go on to what you're saying because I like where this is going. Let's just say Division 1, right? For the sake of argument, I don't like hypotheticals, but let's just go there. Let's just go there for this case. The Division 1 got an overhaul where they introduced Washington D.C. It is not Division 2. It is just Division 1. I wouldn't go back. That's a weird thing. It's weird. I know.
They need to repackage it for you.
Yes. I know that's weird and crazy. I guess it's a mental thing. I never thought about this. Obviously, I'm literally just going. Wheels are spinning.
It's actually pretty normal. Yeah. It's honestly, it's not unreasonable to be like, no, man, you need to make me very aware that you made a second attempt. Kind of thing. Like, I don't think that's unreasonable. Some people are like that. Like, I personally view, like, when you do an overhaul, like, man, like, what did you change about this game? Is it the same game?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good question. And I'm thinking about this now. Because they're going to redo Anthem, right? I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that. I'm not playing that shit. But if you go Anthem 2, I'd be more willing to try that. Because I'm like, okay, you guys are at least trying, even though it's the same thing if you really think about it, right? A complete overhaul and a 2 at the end of it. It's the same fucking thing, but it's a mental block or something.
No. I disagree because it's like DLC can be hit and miss when it comes to overhauls. It's like some DLC can completely change a game and can completely put you in a new setting.
I'm not talking about DLC though. We're talking about like overhaul.
Yeah. By the way,
Division, like Fallout's about to do. Like when people were like, when like No Man's Sky, we're like, no, we tore the game down to its studs and rebuilt it around the community's feedback. Because honestly, those games are that usually changes the game. It's free. It's made to please the community, and honestly, it's a better product. Like the Division 1 at the end of its cycle was better than the Division 2 at the beginning of its cycle.
Sometimes it's like you're with a chick, you break up with her, and it's like, hey, she lost a couple of pounds. I'm like, yeah, but she still wasn't that great of a person. So it's like you're.
Yeah, but the thing is, even like I said, with the Division and Destiny, I like the gameplay in both games so much. I was like, I'll try it again, but I'm not gonna get fooled again. Especially with Destiny, I'm never going. At least with the Division, I still get some fun out of it, And with the Division 2, it was the reverse, Brett. I liked it when it launched, then they fucked it up later. It was the reverse. Had they fucked up in the beginning, I wouldn't have cared. Warlords of New York, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. You guys fucked up from the get-go. But they hooked me in the beginning, like, this is dope, this is cool. But then they fucked up later. And then it's just a fucking DLC. But yeah, that number does a lot, man. It's I guess a psychological thing, but it's very important. It's like, okay, at least you guys are trying here,
So how do you, to expound on them and make it more complicated for you?
Oh, you cut out, bro.
How does that play into something like GTA Online, where they're probably never going to do a GTA Online 2?
Oh, wait. It's like, you mean like, so you think GTA 6 will just have the same GTA Online that's going on right now?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. I mean, if it's on the game, sure, I'll play it.
I don't think so, because I mean they're probably gonna do another city.
Yeah, because it will be another city. I agree. But we're just going hypothetically speaking. But GTA Online is just an offshoot to the main game anyway. But yeah, no, I think I'm with Carlos. I think they're gonna do a brand new city, brand new GTA Online.
Yeah.
But let's just be real. The reason we're not getting GTA 6 anytime soon is because GTA Online right now is making them too much fucking money. Yeah, they're not stopping that gravy train anytime soon.
Man, we haven't checked NPDs in a while, but I don't doubt that freaking GTA's on it.
Yo, by the way, speaking about NPDs, why haven't we had talked about NPDs? I'm like, I haven't seen them. No one posts them anymore.
Really?
It's weird. Yeah, no, the community's not talking about NPDs. Like, think about it. We've gone 3 months without NPDs, and it's not because I'm not interested in talking about. I'm like, where are these NPD numbers? They're not posting them anymore.
I think it's a combination of the end of a generation and the Rona.
But this was
Or
going
maybe,
on.
or maybe.
No, but even before the Rona, we haven't talked about NPDs in a long time. We stopped talking about the end of last year.
Are they even releasing them? Like
That's
I know,
what I'm saying.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are they releasing these fucking things anymore? You know,
Who's it? Piscatella who releases
yeah,
this?
Matt Piscatella. Yeah, like we get small snippets of NPD shit here and there, but we don't get that report anymore. I'm noticing. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat here, because I'm usually on top of this shit. I haven't seen anything, and I'm talking about this is before the fucking Rona. You know, and the whole end of generation thing, it doesn't hold water either, because when Throwdown first started, it was the end of generation, and we were always talking about NPDs during that shit.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe they're doing something different now. You know,
well, it's just less exciting when you to do a top 10.
Yeah. All right. I think we're on to the next one here.
Okay, I'm glad that landed with somebody.
No, it didn't land with nobody. If you fucking cut out when you got
no,
to the
it's because yo, Brett. All right, I'll just you know I'll spell it all out. So Brett, you said something, right? You cut off. Tony didn't want to be mean and say, "Yo, Brett, you cut off," so he said, "Yeah." And then I just laughed, and then Brett's like, "You got the joke, but no one heard it."
No. I said it's tough to make a top 10 list when you only have 9 games.
Shit.
Oh, sure. Heard that?
Oh man, that's a mic drop right there, bro.
All right, let's settle that.
You know. All right. Oh boy. Can Microsoft, or in this case, the Xbox, overtake PlayStation and become the market leader? He goes, I'm aware that this is a fanboy baiting question, but you guys are very pro.
Fanboyish.
Yeah, fanboyish. But you guys are very pro when it comes to this, and I expect nothing but. All right. At the end of the day, it's all about the games, and Sony and Nintendo have Microsoft beat. This cannot be disputed. No argument, no opinion. These are the facts. But this
What's this?
Yeah, this is Goose.
Okay.
But this generation, Microsoft has been moving the chess pieces in a position to strike. They have 15 plus studios all working on games or introducing business practices proven in other industries to the game, to the gaming industry. For example, financing for Xbox consoles, in Game Pass, a Netflix style service for games. They're pushing hard on cloud gaming as an addictive experience. Microsoft, in essence, is trying to expand the market. The caveat is that they don't have games. But if Xbox Game Studios were to pump out quality first-party titles, then what then for the competition? So yeah, do we think Microsoft has a chance to overtake Sony next generation as the?
Oh, God, yes, 100%, dude. They've been for like. Oh, but that's all real. Microsoft gave up halfway through the generation. Like they did there, they're just like, whatever, it's not gonna fucking sell. Put out an elite version, appease the hardcore crowd, and we're gonna put our nose to the grindstone. We're gonna focus on next generation. Every one of their moves has been about beating Sony to the punch, hitting them in the news cycle, producing exactly, listening to their customers. And I realize that may not be out of a place of compassion. It may be out of a place of like, fuck, we're actually forced to listen to these jackasses and hear what they want. Fine. What do you guys want in a console? But you know what? They did it. And they're listening. They've been waiting. They've been growing stronger. Like if there is any time where a console has been poised to overtake another one, it's been this. And I'm not saying I discount the Switch here because I like to say that I knew the Switch was going to be a hit. Not this big. Nobody saw that coming.
Nope.
Like, so it wasn't that was poised to overtake everything. That was just an underdog story. What I'm talking about, Microsoft's been eating their Wheaties, bro. Sony's been sitting there getting fat, and Microsoft's been just eating Wheaties for like 4 fucking years. Like, of course. And everything that you see shows that they're trying to do exactly that. And honestly, they've been dominating the news cycle. If they start coming out with baller games, like, Sony doesn't come out with exclusives more than a few times in a generation, like the big ones. All Microsoft has to do is, like, if they're looking at it this way, like, this entire generation, make 5 big exclusive games that dominate the news cycle. Just over the course of like fucking 6-7 years. That's one every year and a fucking half. Just bring out a boom game. If you bring out a single game every year that is a crowd pleaser, you're beating Sony. I love Sony, but their pace is fucking ridiculously slow. I buy a console for 3 exclusives? Not great, Sony.
Only 3 though. I mean,
I'm
I
trying
do
to.
agree.
God of War, Spider-Man. What's my other one?
Bloodborne.
Ooh, shit. Yeah, okay. So there's 3. There's 3. Where's number 4? Give me number 4.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Thanks. Yeah, totally.
The Order, the Order, 1886.
Come on, you guys are trolling
Yeah.
Brett now, man.
Yeah. Knack 2.
Knack 2, Shadow, Killzone, Persona.
And I know you guys are saying some big games in there, but I'm saying as a consumer, not all those big games are going to hit.
The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima.
Those aren't out yet, brother.
Wait, Days Gone? Did you play that, bro?
No, I did not.
Yakuza 0. I mean, but that's coming out on
All the
Xbox
cool-
now.
Yeah.
See, like a lot of these, like, yeah,
Infamous.
they're good games, but you're just saying exclusives now. You're not saying like generation making exclusives. Like the ones that really nailed this generation out are fucking Spider-Man and God of War.
Yeah, Brett, I'm Bloodborne. Brett,
I love Bloodborne. Other people don't necessarily think that was,
Nah, that's crazy talk, man. Everyone loves everyone is in. People are clamoring for Bloodborne 2, man. There's a whole army of them. But Brett, how many? So okay, they only got 3, but how many does Microsoft have? Like this generation?
Oh no, that's why I say they fucking gave up halfway through. I'm just saying that if they, with all of these studios that they've acquired, if they can manage to produce good crowd-pleasing games at a reasonable pace, there's not any good reason why they shouldn't be able to overtake Sony. They've been honoring themselves.
Here's my shout out to Gravity Rush 2.
Truth.
Here's the thing, Brett. Here's what I learned from last generation. PlayStation brand is ridiculously strong. I do agree with you that PlayStation is really hitting the bed right now. Microsoft is pretty much doing everything right. Ever since the announcement in the VGA awards or whatever they're called, and they unveiled the console or whatever it looked like, that was a first step, and they took a huge step. And Microsoft has been doing a lot of things that really have been to the positive side. And Sony, they did the Mark Cerny press conference or TED Talk, and everyone didn't take that. Like even PlayStation fans were criticizing that thing. But the PlayStation unveiled a freaking controller, and everyone is losing their fucking minds.
Look, just because you starve people for shit, and they
No, exactly
comes like a feast. Like, look, no, I get it, and I get that there's going to be that people are excited, and PlayStation is a strong brand. But you just as well as I do. You've been around the block, man. PlayStation wasn't always king. There was a time when they weren't. We've seen kingdoms fucking topple. This is like Game of Thrones, motherfucker, up in here. Nintendo used to be king, and then they were just nothing for fucking ever but a joke. And then all of a sudden they came back with a fucking vengeance. Like, we've seen Sega rise to dominance and then fall into obscurity. We've watched Microsoft beat the pants off of Sony for at least 3/4 of a generation, and then at the very end, when they finally unlocked this architecture, they caught up. I know Sony won that generation, quote unquote. It won that way for 80%.
It beat the Xbox. It beat Xbox. Wii won the generation. Just to be fair.
Yeah. What's that?
The Wii won the generation.
The Wii won the generation.
Just to be fair, the Wii won that generation.
But Brett,
yeah,
I know, Brett. I know what they did.
Brett, looking back into that generation, that's the best case to see how strong PlayStation brand is. PlayStation revealed the PS3 at a $600 price point and told people to get second jobs. It didn't have any games to launch. It had like Heavenly Sword and Lair, and no one cared for them for the most part. It had a 6-axis controller. It didn't have Rumble. Their freaking online infrastructure was barely existent compared to Xbox Live.
Yeah,
the third-party games all ran better on Xbox 360. to the point.
I know where you're going with this, but you're going to say they ended the generation. But when the time of all of these things were happening, they weren't winning the generation. Microsoft was outselling PlayStation at a ridiculous rate when these problems that you're talking about were happening.
Here's the thing. It's like all of those things combined weren't enough to make PlayStation not being third place. You know, like, and Xbox had everything going for it.
No, hold on. For most of the generation, and this, I get a little testy when people pull this on me. Like, yes, I realize PlayStation squeaked ahead at the very end of a generation that was 3 years fucking too long. If you would have actually called that shit when it was supposed to come out, instead of Sony artificially fucking stretching that shit out, Microsoft would have won that generation. If we're being fair, Microsoft did win that generation for 80% of its life cycle.
It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, man. Winning's winning. When you're talking about when Sony was doing all this shit, they weren't selling consoles. That's the reason that they lost for 80% of that generation. They were selling consoles. I mean, they weren't selling at a PS4 rate, but you got to give 360 some credit. They were selling a lot of consoles too. Man, and you mentioned the whole exclusive thing. Microsoft had a shit ton of exclusives in the first part. They had, the Orange Box. Oh, no, not the Orange Box. Fucking
that was
BioShock
was
that
was exclusive for a while. Orange Box,
and it worked. It worked for
Halo
most
3,
of it.
Mass Effect was an exclusive. They had so many exclusives, and that was still not enough. And they're big name exclusives, like game.
What do you mean that still isn't enough?
It wasn't enough to stop PlayStation's momentum when they caught momentum.
Yeah, because when they did that, Microsoft wasn't doing that stuff anymore. That's my point. Microsoft got complacent. They sat on their laurels. Sony finally figured out how to get its shit together and use the cell architecture. In the last 3 years, they got their shit together and started outselling because Microsoft was essentially a dead console and still moving. I get that. But you can't say... Go ahead.
How many could you name me 5 game-changing PS3 exclusives from last gen?
Probably not off the top of my head right now, though.
Because we did the whole experiment with the PS4, right? Where you can only name 3. PS3, it's like God of War 3,
Uncharted 2,
Metal Gear 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because you're looking at it as like here's just the blank generation, but you're not looking at the time scale. Like, you're not looking at it in years. If you look at it in years, the years that Microsoft was on its game,
The Last of Us
wasn't, then Microsoft was selling more consoles at that point. When Microsoft started to lay off and Sony picked up its game at the tail end of the generation, Sony sold more consoles. There's a direct correlation between effort inputted and returns garnered, even in the span of that single generation. So you can't just say, oh, well, since they ended out on the very end, the decisions they were making at the beginning were correct. Like, no, in the beginning they were getting the pants beaten off of them, and the decisions they were making then were wrong. They made up for it later. But you can't say, like, PlayStation is such a strong brand that they rallied through all that shit, because at the beginning of it, no, it wasn't a strong brand. They developed that strong brand because they had pretty much trashed their reputation.
Brett, they trashed their reputation, and Xbox released a year before it at a cheaper price point. So it's like, how do you, like, it had everything going against it, and it still won. You just, like, you're talking about the last couple of years momentum, but when is that ever enough? Like,
it was enough because Xbox released a year before PlayStation. Therefore, in the last leg of that console generation, it aged worse than PlayStation, which is why PlayStation was on the uptick, because we were all complaining why they weren't giving us another console. And if we were going to be fucking stuck with this, then the Xbox had pretty much reached its limit, and they were still able to do stuff with the cell architecture. So that's why a lot of PlayStations were being sold, because PlayStation still had room to grow. And yes, that worked in the tail end of the generation, but I'm not blocking it and looking at it as simply as, well, they won the generation, so the decisions they launched with were good ones.
Xbox One can release, like, in the last 2 years, they could have released 20 fucking amazing games. They still wouldn't have caught PS4. the Dreamcast fucking failed, and how many fucking game-changing exclusives did they have?
Yeah.
They probably had
wait,
like 10 of them at launch day.
Are you just saying that the PlayStation just has a sort of fervent, blind fan base that it's going to outsell even if it's a piece of shit?
Yes, and what I mentioned earlier, they showed a freaking controller, and that's still part of the narrative a week later.
They showed a fucking logo, and that overtook anything Microsoft was doing. That fucking a logo. Think about that.
Logo, yeah.
Yeah, I need to jump in on that. By the way, shout out to Breast Dog, man.
Pod dog.
Actually, unless you guys are done.
What do you mean? What do you mean it overtook everything Microsoft was?
Conversation wise, like nobody was talking, like as far as like Twitter trending goes, like nobody gave a fuck. Let me just go off on this. What I find interesting is, and this goes to Carlos's point, which I agree with, that Sony's brand is just so strong. Microsoft has released information nonstop, right? Sony releases one piece of bullshit, like a fucking logo, overtakes everything. A fucking logo. This time a controller. You know, like think about it. Think about this. You have a console that you could physically see with your eyes. You know, the Xbox Series X, the dope ass console. You see that shit. Sony released a logo that said nobody cares about the fucking console anymore. You know, and this is the point I was.
I don't take Twitter as a metric of how much people care. I take a Twitter as a metric of pedantic gossip and things they're talking about in the minute. So of course, if there's been a starve of information and you get one little tidbit, that's going to break the trending Twitter hashtags. Of course, it is.
But you get to see how many fucking sharks were starving.
Yeah, and
that's goddamn a lot of sharks.
Yeah. By the way, you know, everybody has their own social media thing. You got Reddit, I got Twitter. You know, so make of that what you will. But here's the point I wanted to make, right? Unless you guys want to keep debating here.
No, go ahead.
So the last generation was a fluke, right? And by fluke, I mean that the PlayStation was not the dominant system. For 25 years, PlayStation has been the dominant brand. PlayStation 1 murdered that generation. PlayStation 2 murdered that generation. PlayStation 4 murdered that generation. And I've said this before on the store many times. Unless Sony fucks up really badly, they're going to win again, right? Like, Microsoft has all these great things in place. I will give them credit all day, every day. All the shit they're doing is good. But if you don't have games, that shit doesn't fucking matter. And going back to Carlos's point, think about like this, right? PlayStation 3 was so fucking expensive. The cell architecture was hard to program for, right? But people still wanted a PlayStation more than Xbox, but the Xbox was cheaper and it was available, so they jumped to the shit. But as soon as PlayStation dropped that price and started releasing games, PlayStation started selling, so basically the point is, like, I agree that the PlayStation brand is that's pretty much the brand you think of when you think of gaming now. I know you want to say Nintendo or whatever, and there's merit to that, but people think PlayStation when they think of gaming. So unless Sony fucks up, and I mean royally fucks up, Microsoft's not going to overtake them. I really don't see that happening.
I'm telling you, that's a pony answer.
No, it probably will be seen as a pony answer, but that's the truthful answer.
No, it's not seen as. It totally is.
No, dude, let me finish. 25 years Sony has been dominant. 25 fucking years. Now Sony is still dominant. Unless they fuck up, which they very well could, I don't see how they're going to lose, man. I don't think the Xbox brand is even, like, I'm going to say, again, pony, but I don't give a fuck. Microsoft, I don't think anybody takes that brand seriously anymore, man. Unless the hardcore guys that are really, like, clamoring onto the grand old days of the 360, nobody takes that fucking brand seriously anymore.
And that goes for me, Adam, Chris. Like, we all were. I don't know about Chris.
Dude, Adam has said he's willing to buy the new.
Now, Adam's waiting. He wants an excuse to go back to Xbox.
Yeah,
he is waiting.
But I was a big 360 guy. I played a ton of games on 360. I love Halo.
So my answer is ultimately, unless Sony fucks up, which they could, I don't think they're going to lose their spot, man. I have seen, despite all this shit that Microsoft is doing, no one gives a fuck. No one is hyped for this shit.
I'm curious. Which is selling at a faster rate? Switch or PS4?
Switch is selling it because it's the newer console. That's it would be interesting if Switch outsells PlayStation. At the moment, it's not, but you never know, right? But yeah, at the moment, the best-selling console in terms of pace is definitely the Switch, and in terms of numbers too, obviously.
No, it will outsell it. Because Switch is going to last for a long ass time.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. When we revisit the generation, we'll have to say Switch won. You know what I'm saying? That'll be interesting. But Brett. So it's basically Switch is outselling both Xbox and PlayStation combined. Like, it's selling like gangbusters.
Just want to throw this out there.
But the Xbox numbers are fucking pathetic, man.
Dude, they've given up. Like I said, they gave up. The thing that I don't understand is why everybody like. Did they not give up halfway through this generation? Does anybody think that they were trying hard instead? Like everybody saw them acquiring game studios. Everybody saw them making long-term bets.
I don't know.
Long-term investments.
I mean, I don't disagree with you them not trying, but I'm gonna say
I got a mic drop.
I got a mic drop. You say Microsoft gave up halfway through its generation. I think they gave up like 2 years when this generation started, man. I think they gave up almost from the beginning. You know?
No, I would say dude. The Kinect was such a monumental failure, and the system was so built around the Kinect that they realized they were not going to limp along a machine doing what it was not designed to do to be the dominant console. They just weren't. So they were going to try and hold their market share, and obviously, like. I don't think that they just sat on their laurels because we've talked about before, like the way they've been acquiring game studios, the things that they're trying to launch, the things that they're trying to fucking buy. They're all parts of what looked to be a long-term strategy to appease, to mostly get these games, to get exclusive games that people want. They've listened to that, and they are trying to do that really hard. And if they actually succeed, like. That could be a dominant thing. Like they used to be able to play ball just because they were sleeping for most of this last generation because they fucked up so insanely at the beginning. I don't see that puts them out of the game necessarily.
And Brett,
yo,
I got a mini mic drop and I got a mic drop.
All right.
Which one do you want to hear first?
Keep in mind that Carlos's definition of mic drops are subject to.
Yeah, I want to hear what a mini mic drop is from Carlos.
Okay. So, you could actually they're interchangeable. Okay, and I'll let you decide which one's which. First off, Microsoft not only has like their exclusives, but they have them on PC. So for like people like Brian, don't really have a need to buy the console anymore. Like Brian, for sure, I have no doubt in my mind that Brian is going to get a PlayStation 5.
But see, that's your interpretation. You could also look at it as Brian.
You cut off.
Oh, you cut off.
Brian is what?
I said that's your interpretation. You could also look at it like Brian already has their console. He's already in their ecosystem.
Yeah.
Oh, but nah. If you're gonna, we're talking. This is explicitly console sales. Like, I don't. We're gonna get with the semantics about
Carlos,
people using their service.
But that's not Microsoft's business plan.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Carlos. In this case, you have to go with what Microsoft's business plan is, which is making Xbox a brand. So you have to take that into consideration. That goes to something else I want to say, right? Xbox may quote unquote win, but not in the traditional way we're thinking of. We're thinking about console sales, right? But if Microsoft gets its games to a lot of different people on a lot of different platforms, it could outdo Sony monetarily that way. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely something to consider. So maybe we're thinking about this in an old and I was thinking about it too in an old fashioned sense. Like, yeah, in terms of console sales, Xbox is not going to touch PlayStation 5. I if that sounds like a fanboy thing, I don't give a fuck. That's what's going to happen. But Microsoft could still, or Xbox games could still be a bigger brand because it's going to reach a lot more people. Microsoft is playing a different, Brett, I think you read this. They're playing a different game right now. They're setting things up for a different type of game. You know? They're
playing the new game. And as much as I hate to say it because I'm an old guy and I like this stuff, the thing that we know Sony for, building immersive single player experiences, like that is kind of going by the wayside. If they stick to just that same business plan that they,
I don't know about that. Spider-Man, God of War, and The Last of Us would disagree.
Okay, and I got a mic drop. All
right, go ahead.
It's locked and loaded.
Okay.
Hey, Brett.
Like dropping a mic and loaded? What the fuck?
Okay, no, hold on, because I got a return mic drop. Let's hear this.
Okay, so you talked about getting studios and stuff, and I agree. Getting the studios is a pretty good thing. But there's one of the studios that released a game not too long ago called Bleeding Edge, and that was a colossal failure.
There's going to be failures in there. That's the nature of new IPs. Is some of them hit and some of them miss.
So if it's not going to be Gears, Halo, and Forza, they just released the most recent game for a huge ass studio for them, Ninja Theory, and it's like people don't care about this game, and it's a multiplayer game.
What, Neo?
No,
Bleeding Edge.
Bleeding Edge. I can't tell you. I don't
It
know.
sounds like you don't even know what this game is.
No, I don't. I've had
Exactly my point.
Yeah, and this is Microsoft's big exclusive at the moment, and nobody gave a fuck.
Dude, they've given up on this generation. I said that. They're not even trying.
I do want to say this though, because Sony is sticking with the traditional route of let's release a console with a bunch of exclusives. Microsoft's like, let's put our shit in everybody's faces and hope that works. The thing is, will gamers? I'm talking specifically talking about guys like us embrace that? Because
it doesn't matter, and that's my point. Like, I know you're like Spider-Man, God of War, and whatever else you want to say. Here's my response: Fortnite.
Oh yeah,
Fortnite beats the pants off of all of those monetarily.
And that is what Microsoft is trying to do. All these games that are releasing right now, they're all multiplayer games because they chasing that Fortnite.
That's why I'm saying, but that's the future, man. Like the things that Sony does, like people appreciate it, but they don't make the money. They don't hit the mainstream. They're becoming more and more niche.
Spider-Man's pretty fucking mainstream, and God of War too. They both sold over 10 million each, man. I wouldn't call those niche,
Yo, man,
But to your point, Brett, 10 million, 20 million, those are still not Fortnite numbers. So I will give you that.
I was about to say, what are the sales numbers cash-wise?
Yeah, so Microsoft is
dropping
really
the fucking bucket.
Yeah, for sure. But so it's interesting in the game how it's like. So the more we're having this conversation, I'm thinking, is it even a fair comparison anymore? Again, because these two companies are using two completely different strategies that are at odds with one another.
Yes, it is. It is fair because you're saying, will that strategy work? Can it work? And I'm saying, yes, it can. It's been proven to work, and that's why. Could be viable.
Actually, it hasn't proven to work yet. Microsoft's like throw it on everything strategy. Not yet. It could work, but we haven't seen it work yet.
I think it's fair, but the thing that's not fair is I don't know how we're gonna digest it and analyze it. Probably the only one that can do it is Chris, just by looking at the financials, because there's no real rubric for us to. Exactly. So there's just no real way for us to analyze it because back then it was like game sales and console sales, but this is they're doing Game Pass and they're doing xCloud and all these services, and it's like I don't know how to measure this compared to whatever PlayStation is doing.
Going back to what we were saying before, maybe that's why we don't see NPDs in your face anymore like that. Maybe they're not important like that.
Oh,
I don't know, man. It's interesting. I don't know it's going to be very interesting. But I think, for the traditional guys, I think PlayStation is still going to be the king. Xbox, they're doing something else because they realize they cannot compete with Sony head to head. They're going to fucking lose. That's just a fact. So they're doing something else. The green ocean strategy, as I'm calling it. That's what Microsoft is up to. Chris, what's your take on all this, man?
Well, I agree with you. I think if Sony, this is Sony's game to lose. I'll say that they're on top right now. So if they fuck up, if PS5 comes out and the price point's too high, or they don't have anything ready for it, they're just like, oh, you can play your PS4 games right now. It's like, why are you spending $600 or whatever? I mean, they could screw up, right? They could trip out of the gate, and Microsoft could capitalize on it and dominate. Just like the same thing when Xbox One tripped out of the gate with TV, and all that bullshit, and they didn't have much going on, and Sony capitalized on it and took off, right?
Yeah.
So you could have the same thing there. All Microsoft has right now that they're working on. You like you said, that Green Ocean is a good name for it. Like Microsoft has an ecosystem, right? Windows PC is Windows is 80% of the PC market, right?
Yeah.
I think it's over 80%, right? Then they have Linux and Mac, when Apple scrambling for the rest of it. So they have a big ecosystem. So they want people to get it on. That's why they're doing xCloud. That's why they're doing PC Game Pass and Xbox. So you're always on Xbox, even if you're using Windows, right? They want to ingratiate everybody in there. So they're still getting that revenue no matter what. So Sony and Nintendo don't have that. Unless you have their system, you're not in their ecosystem, right? They don't have that kind of reach. So that's what Microsoft's banking on. And so when I look at the future financials next year, Xbox is going to be a service, right? It's going to be like looking at Azure or anything else. It's not a tangible thing. I'm not looking at the Series X. Xbox is everything. It's even your Windows PC. Even if you just have Game Pass or you just have xCloud or whatever, that's gonna count. It's all gonna count. So that's what they're working on. The thing is, though, the main thing, like they could have all that stuff. If they don't have anything to play on it, they're gonna lose, just like they
Yeah.
lost this gen.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, that's what it all boils down to. Like, even if you have like these great services, streaming, and all this other shit playing on your phone, whatever, that none of that shit matters. If the games don't hit, it doesn't fucking matter. So we'll have to see if Microsoft's able to pull off even one Fortnite type of game. Even if they have one of those, they'll do really well. But I don't know about that. Well, I mean, they have a bunch of studios, so it's possible. But yeah, but again, the more I'm thinking about this question, I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like, if it's even a direct thing anymore, because Sony is giving consoles for the guys who want traditional experiences, and your Xbox is just like, we want everybody, like on everything. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Next generation, I said this before, next generation is going to start off traditional. It's going to end completely fucking different, man. But then again, it's going to start different now with all this Corona shit going on, So, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that may be Sony betting on. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, by the end of this generation, doing something different, if they don't up their digital distribution platform, if they don't up their, like, I realize it's a single player thing, but the world is becoming more interconnected. Games take off based on social media. People connect over game. I mean, fucking look at Animal Crossing, right? Like, just a small multiplayer component builds a fervent community. And Sony can only hide from that for so long.
I should add that while Sony's first party games are definitely, first party games, most people play their multiplayer games on PlayStation 4. So just keep that in mind, because a lot of people seem to forget that. Like, yeah, PS4 is the biggest online console out there,
But here's the thing, like, you guys talk about PlayStation being such a powerful brand.
Which
and the reason I disagree with that, 80% of those people are fair weather fans, man. They went to Sony because that's where there was more multiplayer going on. That it had the bigger market share, and so that meant more people to play on Call of Duty, and so they jumped from Xbox. They're mercenaries. They have no allegiance, and that's a majority of the people who play these things. Like, I don't think if you checked 100 random Sony fans, I don't think more than 20 of them are going to be die-hard brand loyalists.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
You guys are.
But the thing is, like, it's the casuals always go for the brand that is the most popular, and that's PlayStation. They're like, hey, what's the biggest what's the biggest console out there? PlayStation. I'll get a PlayStation. They don't even think about it. They're not loyal to PlayStation. They just know it's the biggest selling, so I'm gonna buy that shit. That's also what helped Xbox 360 last generation. Like, what's the biggest console out there? Xbox. I'll buy an Xbox.
Yeah,
So,
no, exactly, and it flip flops.
It does.
So, like,
it
really depends on who it looks the best out of the gate. And just because people are talking about the PlayStation controller, I don't know if yes, that is more newsworthy at that time because, people are starving for PlayStation attention because they've been getting all this Microsoft information. And so, people definitely want to know about that. But if I wonder if you sat down and actually asked gamers, like, right now, who's looking better in your eyes, Sony or Microsoft? Like, I know Sony's been getting a lot of talk lately because they just released some stuff. But who's sitting prettier right now? Because I'll be honest, I'm a Sony guy, and Microsoft's looking better.
Interesting. Again, motherfucker's gonna call me pony. I don't care. To me, PlayStation's still sitting better. Microsoft is doing a lot of stuff. None of that shit. I'm talking about me personally. None of that shit really impresses me. Like, Sony's giving me what I want.
But we were just talking about all the casuals care about. All they care about is who's gaming on the platform the most.
Yeah, no, for sure. Right now,
everybody owns a PC.
But PC, I don't think it counts for a console conversation.
No, because Microsoft made that part of the conversation. That's the point. If you have a whole group, if 50% of gamers, if all of casuals are just going to go towards where the biggest audience lies, Microsoft has now pinned that down exclusively. Console sales don't matter anymore. You will always have full matches through Xbox Live. Always.
But here's the thing, but Xbox doesn't currently have the most consoles sold at the moment.
No, but see, the thing, by turning all PCs into consoles, you increase your market share exponentially. And if all the casuals just follow the market share, then by pinning that down with Xbox
but that's the thing,
and
though.
computers,
Yeah, no, I know.
they would
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But casuals don't play on PC. Not really.
No,
casuals play on
casuals
their
don't
phones.
play on PC.
You know,
and casuals don't play on PC.
Mhm.
But again, if you're playing Call of Duty, even if you're a casual, you're going to go to where there are players playing Call of Duty. And if that means that it's going to be where the PC players are, and you can plug into that and play with PC players as well as Xbox players, you're going to have a more healthy community.
Well, it's not just that, Brett. You're only looking at one aspect of it, and that's strategizing against market share. Marketing also is a big part of it, because if Sony is able to pay Activision and say, "Hey, you're going to promote Call of Duty, whatever the next gen Call of Duty is, against PlayStation," people are going to just go, "Oh, I play Call of Duty on PlayStation." This is exactly what happened with Destiny and other stuff this gen. People didn't know Destiny was available on Xbox
Yep.
because of the marketing, right?
Yeah.
Once they lock them into exclusivity, that'll affect people big time, you know?
Yeah, but have none of you guys ever run into like dead community, dead game? And I realize I'm the big multiplayer game fan, but like, am I the only one who's okay? So am I the only one who's ever run into? I love this game. There's just no community there anymore. If there was community there, I would totally be playing this game.
I'm the king of that, man. Heroes of the Storm.
Okay, so if you were telling me, if I told you that on one console you're going to have people to play with, and on another one it's as simple as that. Are you going to buy the console that you don't have people to play with?
Could you repeat the question again? I don't think I heard it right.
I said if I were to tell you that playing Heroes of the Storm on one console, you'd be able to find matches. On the other console, it would be a dead community. Would you not buy it for the one with the active community?
Right, but if if the active community is on PlayStation, then your argument falls flat. See, it only works if you're assuming that Xbox is the dominant system next generation. But you're making a giant assumption.
Well, no, right? I'm saying Xbox combined with Windows. Like you can't, like, how many PCs that can function as gaming?
I have a functioning PC, but I don't do most of my gaming on PC, and a lot of people I know don't do that either. They play on a system.
I feel like this is kind of like moving the goalposts, because let's say use Call of Duty as the example, but you're saying on Windows. But what if I get it on Steam, or what if I get it on Battle.net or whatever?
Call of Duty sells more on consoles, by the way. Just throwing it out there.
Let me put it in my point, because I'm trying not to put it from my own from my own bias, but I'll go ahead and throw it out there. If I want to go play Conan Exiles, right, and I know on PlayStation there ain't nobody playing Conan Exiles. It is a fucking desert wasteland. And for the most part, nobody's playing it on Xbox either. But they're playing it through the Xbox service on PC, which has made for a healthy, vibrant community on the Microsoft side and a dead community on the PlayStation side. Now, I don't necessarily want to play on my PC, but that means that I'm probably going to buy an Xbox, because Conan's not going to be the only game like they're going to have more healthy, vibrant communities that last longer on something that's tied into PC gaming. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't like cross-playing with PC gamers. But that's the truth of it. I would rather, if this came to be, I would probably much rather play a Soulsborne game on an Xbox than a PlayStation, because part of the problem with PlayStation is that it becomes a barren fucking wasteland if you're behind the curve. And you're not going to get that on something that has more player base. You're going to get more newbies coming in fresh with you, more fresh meat coming in.
Tell that to the bleeding edge people.
Well, and what about your argument that the PC community cheats? So if I'm on Xbox, I'm at an immediate disadvantage if I'm not playing on PC, because if PC guys use mods, right, I'm going to get no scoped all day long. I'm not going to want to play on there. But if I'm on PlayStation,
even knowing that, I'd still prefer that to a dead community.
But no, you're again, that's an assumption. Why is PlayStation a dead community?
Well,
like you're just like, I understand your point, Brett, but you're just coming into the conclusion where you put Sony in a no-win situation. It's like I'm saying
this in actuality. Conan is dead on PC. or dead on PS4, but on PC it has a community. It is still a
Lawbreakers is
live
dead on
active
Xbox.
game. That's okay. Games live longer on PC. It's a lifeline. If you can tie into that lifeline, is it going to make games also more viable longer on the console that they're tied to?
I mean,
Like, that's
Call
what
of
I don't
Duty
get.
thrives more on PS4. You know, I'm pretty sure most of the Fortnite people are coming from consoles.
Most MP games that are third party and on multiple consoles, most of the player base is on fucking consoles. There's exceptions like Conan, obviously, but for the most part, I'm talking about the big AAA games and shit. Most of the player base is on PlayStation 4.
Brian, question. Warframe, who plays that most? Is it PC people or console people?
I
Or do you
have
know?
no way to
a
find
good
out.
question.
But if I would have a guess, I'd say more PC people.
Yeah, that feels like a PC game.
But
Yeah,
that's
because
because it started first on PC, and generally you get updates first on PC due to how the cycles work. So you get more content creators on PC. So
no, and that's a good point because it's like, you know, their games are not a monolith when it comes to multiplayer. It's like you'll have your Warframes and your WoWs. I mean, WoWs is an exclusive, but games like that maybe get ported over to a console that are like Divinity. I'm pretty sure Divinity is more popular on the PC than it is like fucking Diablo is a perfect example. It's way more popular on PC than it is in consoles. But you also have your Call of Duties, you have your Maddens and your 2Ks and you know NHLs and MLB The Shows. I don't even know MLB The Show is on PC, but I'm pretty sure it's more popular on PlayStation. But
MLB The
and it's
Show is
gonna be
exclusive right now, by the way.
yeah, right now it is. But I'm saying I don't know if it's just a console exclusive or
No, it's a console exclusive. It's been a console exclusive for PlayStation forever.
no. I'm saying I'm not sure if it's just a console exclusive.
No, it's not on PC, dude. It's not on
Okay.
PC. Yeah. Continue.
So yeah, so I think it's like it just depends on the game too. Like dead communities, like there's some non-existent communities on PC as opposed to console, but there's quite the opposite on other ends. So it's just really hard to analyze like which one's gonna fail on which console and or which platform. It's like and let's say there's a thriving community on an Xbox game. Let's use Call of Duty for an example. Let's say Call of Duty thrives more on PC, but are we gonna give that a win for Microsoft for Xbox or because it's also on other applications? It's on Battle.net. You know, it's not like is it just because it's going to be on Windows? Does it mean that it's a win for Xbox? But people aren't really getting the achievements on the Xbox app. Like they're not launching the game off the Xbox app, or so it's really dicey to just come into conclusions like that. At least for me.
I mean, I have specific examples of it happening, so and it's affecting.
And I'm pretty sure I'll have specific examples the other way. You know, like it's.
But see the thing, if I have an issue with if I have a problem with an issue that affects me specifically and directly as a gamer, I'm voicing that issue, and you're telling me that it's a non-issue from somebody who doesn't play those games. So you're an outsider coming into my party, telling me how it goes, and if I'm sounding dismissive, it's because I've played this shit since the days of WoW. I have jumped from console to console to follow the crowd, to follow the stream. You guys have just sat back and played PlayStation. I get that.
Wait,
but
what?
How can you talk about?
I played WoW too, and I played StarCraft, and I played Civilization.
You for the most part. I'm talking. I guess I'm just lumping everybody together, so I should speak directly to you on this one. If you have jumped ship for greener pastures on past consoles, why do you suddenly think that you would be unwilling to do so this generation?
Because it's like it's just seeing how Xbox has been doing everything ever since the first half of the Xbox 360. It's just they don't have the fucking legs. They honestly, I'm surprised they're even releasing another console. It's like
they're not going straight into xCloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
It's
surprised by that too. I'm like, why you guys bothering, man? You know, but
like honestly,
yeah.
I prefer it because competition makes for better, you know, for PlayStation to be better. But it's like it's still surprising. And for me and Brett, my preferred console of not just last gen, but the last 2 gens are probably a Xbox console. And before that, it was the N64.
So it makes you think that it doesn't have a chance this generation.
Because I just see I'm gonna repeat what Chris always says. I'm reading the tea leaves, man. I see exactly where they're heading, and it's like
But what's that based on? Because we
they
know
haven't
not just
released
about,
the game that I love in over a generation.
and you're comparing that against Sony's what controller specs? Like, what is it about Sony what has Sony done that's impressed you so much for this new generation? For the new generation, okay, what games are coming out for PS5?
It's not that. Like basically, and this is a great question because this is the same question I got with when PS3 was coming out. It's like, yo, what games are you excited for PS3? I'm like, I haven't seen them yet, but based off the track record that they've had, I'm excited for what's coming out. So my answer is still
okay,
the
but
same.
you can't change language. So based off the track record that you have,
yeah,
that's exactly what you're saying. I'm a brand loyalist. Because they've, and that's fine. You can say that, but don't pretend that you're not saying that you're being a Sony pony when you say I'm being a brand loyalist.
Wait a minute. What the hell are you talking about?
Being a brand loyalist, that's what Sony pony means. That means you're loyal to Sony.
No, listen, you could be loyal to a company and not be a fucking pony. There's a difference. Basically, if I was a true pony, I wouldn't give Microsoft any fucking credit or even have their system in my house or in Nintendo. That's a pony, you know? Now, obviously, I'm loyal to Sony. Sony is the fucking shit. They've never let me down since I've been into the system. So I'm like, okay, they haven't let me down before. I don't think they're going to let me down now. So that's where I'm coming at it from. They've done consistently great work as far as I'm concerned, and I don't see them like dropping the ball in any case. But this means I'm a fucking like blindly like follow. Again, I have a Nintendo, I have a fucking Xbox. I plan to keep getting games. That's
literally what you're saying you're doing. You have zero information, and you trust them having no information to do the right thing. That is the definition of blindly following.
Yeah,
no,
and
he's
whoa, no. I'm answering this one. Hold on. Dude, that's not right. That's not blind, bro. That's based off like shit, experience for years. That's not blind. Like, okay, they've done this before. I expect them to do this again. That's not. How's that blind? They've given me a track record. You know,
because because they haven't given you have no information about the product that they're actually touting.
So I should just dismiss 20 years of them giving me good games because the next system may be shit.
You shouldn't necessarily be sold on it right away because they have it when they haven't told you.
But I don't understand. I mean, we don't know that much about Xbox.
Yeah,
either.
you're sold on Xbox already. Yeah, like you're sold on Xbox.
No, I'm not. I'm not sold on either one. That's my point. Either one. I'm not pre-bought. This game is still up in the air for me, and I don't understand how people have already made their decision when there's not any information to make that decision on.
But you can't do things in a vacuum, man. Sony has a track record, and you have to expect they're going to do that again. That's how brand loyalty works in general. It's like, hey, listen, for example, Robert Jordan, right? When you were reading him, you knew this motherfucker's shit. You knew he was going to keep giving you consistently good stuff based on his track record. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so how did season 8 of Game of Thrones end up?
The hell?
What is that?
What the hell does
track
that have to do with
They had
anything?
7 seasons of great track record.
They also ran out of source material. That's a different. They ran out of source material, bro. That's a completely different thing.
There's always a reason, and for like Microsoft had a great.
So
track
hold
record.
on, and we're derailing conversation, and whatever. So you're telling me you will not give anything, like I guess for lack of a better term, the benefit of that based off a good track record. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, all right. That's it. I can't.
Did I buy the new From Software game just because they have a good track record with the old From Software games, even though it didn't look like something I was necessarily interested in? No. Did I give it the benefit of the doubt? No, I didn't.
Hey, Brett,
Yeah.
I have a question.
But to be fair though, that was because they didn't have multiplayer like you wanted. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't give me exactly what I'm asking, I'm going to go to your competitor. I have no loyalty to you. I give you money instead. We're not friends.
Yeah, the reason I bring that up is because with Fallout, I like Fallout games, right? But with Fallout 7, I'm like Fallout Online, I don't like that, so I didn't bother. So I'm not like the loyalty comes at a point, but when it comes to a console with multiple games and different experiences, like I don't think Sony's gonna really let anybody down. And I know for a fact all the big publishers are gonna put all their games on Sony anyway. Plus the ecosystem I've been building for all these years, I have no reason to abandon ship. Plus, I'm still gonna be buying Xbox games and Nintendo games anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's bad behavior at all. And when I say that that's kind of pony behavior, I mean that in the most loving way. Like, brand loyalty is not a bad thing, right? Like, I would love to have brand loyalty, but I've been burned before, and at this point, I don't give a shit. I've lost the idea that a company can have my best interests at heart or be my friend in any way. They just make money. They just want money. It's a deal I've made with them. They bring out things that they think that I'm going to like, and I give them money for it. There is in no way any appreciation either way that goes back and forth. They don't give a fuck about me, and I don't give a fuck about them. Because you know what? If they really gave a fuck about me, they wouldn't be charging me for the fucking game.
Yeah, but
I gave them money.
But what does this have to do with you caring about them or them caring about you?
That's the thing. Like, everybody acts like, oh, this is my darling studio. This is my sweetheart studio. Like, I love them so much, and they're great with the fans and everything like that. And yeah, a lot of times, sometimes that can be true. But even with people like CD Projekt Red, they're a business. While they care about you in terms of numbers, they don't care about what's going on at home with you. They're not your friend. They're not going to call and ask you to go to lunch with them on Sunday. You gave them money. They gave you a video game. That's the fucking end of it. Why does there have to be loyalty in that?
It's everyone, though.
When money changes hands, loyalty is no longer an issue on the table.
Yeah, I don't understand where it's like where that's coming from though. You're saying it's like people are just like, love based on the whole assumption like the company, loves you or you love them is like that has nothing to do with it. It's all about consistency. Like Brett, I'm pretty sure you get a lot of work, as a tattoo guy because your shit is the bomb. Your track record speaks for itself. It's like if I got a tattoo from you before, I'm probably going to go to you again because I know I'm going to get some bomb ass, crazy, dope ass work. You know what I'm saying? That's because obviously I love you, but I'm talking about like just a regular Joe and shit. It's like, yo, that Brett motherfucker, that guy's the best artist I know, man. I'm going to keep going to him, man. That's a consistent dude.
But you see, Sony having done no wrong. You don't even see when and
Sony has done wrong, but they've done more right than wrong.
Didn't I say on Thursday they sit on a throne of lies?
Brett, we've been ripping on Sony for 3 fucking months already, bro. I call them out if I have to.
Well, that's the thing. We'll rip on them. They're still going to buy their system.
Of course, because it's Sony, man. Haven't let me down yet, bro. That's just the real shit. Well,
they've let me down. Oh no, and maybe that's the difference between us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, everyone's let you down in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, Brett, you're justified. Everything you've been saying all this time, you're perfectly justified. But again, for me, Sony has not fucked up that badly for me to go, fuck them. I'm not gonna mess with Sony next generation. In my estimation, they've stumbled. Some big stumbles.
I haven't written them off. I'm sitting in the camp of. They'll be like, "Are you ready to cast your vote?" Be like, "No, I'm gonna wait and see what happens." Like, well, don't. A lot of people are getting excited about their consoles of choice. Like, I don't know what my console of choice is. Like, well, shouldn't it be Sony? Like, maybe. Like, I've enjoyed what Sony's been doing, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna discount Microsoft. Be like, well, you think Microsoft even has a chance? Yeah, like why are you saying that they don't have a chance before they've really even showed their true hand?
But look at most of us in this room. We have all the systems. It's not like I'm gonna sit here. But I have to base it on what I do right now. I play PS4 95% of the time, right? And then I play Switch like 4% of the time, and once in a while I update the Xbox One and I look at it
right.
and I stuff. But that's how I am. So based on that behavior, and I understand where Tony's coming from. We're creatures of habit.
Yes.
If I get a good haircut from someone, I'm going back to that guy. I get good service from a restaurant, I'm probably going to eat there more often. That's just it. So I'm going to trust Sony to give me that same service, right?
Okay,
I enjoy their system now. I have faith, right? It's not based on facts. I'm not reading any financial sheets. I don't have any insider info. It's just like I have a good experience now. I trust, and they gave me 3 past good experiences. I'm going to trust that the next experience is going to be almost as good.
How was the whole get a second job, high price point, like asshole Sony from back in the day, suddenly the good guy. Like, am I the only one that?
No one's saying they're good.
Yeah, no one's saying they're good.
No,
I'm just saying,
you're saying that they have served you impeccably, and I'm saying
I never said that they fucked up, but most of the time
you said that they've never fucked up. Out of 4 consoles,
I never said
they fucked up the launch of
No,
one.
no, but that you have to separate the system from the business practices.
Yeah, you do.
Right? Like I've always talked about, Nintendo has done some horrible business practice. I mean, suing a family that runs Emu Paradise, that's not a good look. Suing a bar because they run a Pokemon tournament, not a good look for a giant global corporation. But hey, you like your Switch, right? You like an Animal Crossing? It's a great game, right? It's giving you a good experience. You're gonna keep playing it, or are you gonna throw it out because they sue people for frivolous things, right? Companies do shitty things. Don Matrick came out and said television was the focus of the Xbox One, and and they shit themselves right out of the gate, right at the beginning.
You give them kudos as a business, like that's the only reason I don't
give the
completely
system
shun.
kudos.
Yeah.
I give the
Dude,
system.
the PlayStation 2 was a piece of shit.
The PlayStation 2 had some of the best games ever released. What are you talking about?
That's the company. That's not the system. If we're talking about the system itself,
Wait,
what
was your?
So I played games at the company and not the system. What are you even talking about right
that's
now?
what Chris is talking about. You have to separate the practices of the company from the hardware itself. And so if we're talking about just the hardware.
Yes, but that's your opinion. I think the
Yeah.
PS2 hardware was just fine. I never had an issue with it. It had the best library of games I probably played since Super Nintendo. So I don't see where you're coming from. And Sony put out those games. When I talk about corporate practices, I talk about things like frivolous lawsuits, copyright infringement cases, pulling down videos when people shit on games and they pull them down because they don't want bad word of mouth. Things like that. Those are shitty practices, right? That has nothing to do with the system. That has to do with corporate practices and legal practices. That's what I'm talking about.
I got to mention one thing though, Brett. What was your favorite console last gen?
Last gen?
Yeah.
PS3,
360 Wii.
It ended up being PS3 by default.
So my favorite console was the Xbox 360. So does that make it invalid because there was a shitload of the 360s that failed? No, it produced the product that I wanted. Even though my fucking 360 kept failing, I still gained on the 360 because at that time it had the better online features. It had the better games. They ran better, third party.
No, that's a great point. I bought 360s. I owned 3 different ones. My first 2 died.
Oh yeah,
that's the reason I left the Microsoft ecosystem. That's the whole reason I'm a Sony person, is I burned through 360s and I decided that was enough. I was going to play on the what I considered inferior system because at least it wasn't going to die on me. I liked the 360 better. I liked the OG Xbox better. In fact, if we're comparing PlayStation consoles to Xbox consoles, PlayStation 4 is the only one that I actually like better than its Xbox counterpart.
Look, man, I preferred the Xbox and the Xbox 360 those generations. I prefer the PS4 now. I fucking own 3 Xbox Ones, the OG, the Xbox One S, and the Xbox One X, and I'm still choosing PlayStation 3 as the leader of the market share between both of those. And like, I don't know what science goes into all of it, but I see the writing on the wall for Microsoft, and their games as a service better launch from a fucking rocket. It better not be no fucking North Korean rocket.
All I'm gonna say is this: I was right about the Switch. I'm right about this too. You're never gonna hear the end of it.
Hell, man.
Well, I mean, good thing we're not talking about Nintendo.
Why? Because we talk about how I'm right.
Yeah.
On the note of how right I am.
What about our bet, man? You still haven't paid that shit off.
Brett with that ill flex right now, son. Oh man.
So they're selling out in record. They're sold out everywhere during quarantine. The portable system is sold out when you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, but Nintendo actually has games. Microsoft hasn't released any substantial amount of first party games in I don't know, God knows how long.
Yeah, they also didn't have. They had like 10 less studios than they have now.
I'm confused. Brett, what are you right about in this situation?
that the Switch was going to be wildly successful.
No. I know that. No,
he
not
said
that.
if. He said if Xbox is if he's right about the Xbox. He said if.
Yeah, that
He said if,
Microsoft,
guys.
they're not just going to roll over. This isn't going to be just a one-sided. It's not going to be, full-grown man versus toddler fist like people make it out to be. Like Microsoft is, they're coming. They've been preparing. They've acquired.
So
studios.
you're saying they're going to dominate next gen?
No, I'm saying they're going to put up a fight.
No, so it's
Well, no,
you're,
but that's
criticizing us for having an opinion, but and then you're like, I don't know.
Well, no, because the whole question was, does Microsoft stand a chance of being viable? And my answer was yes, and you all seem to have them already written off as being dead before the console even releases.
We're giving our opinion whether we think it is or not.
Whether it's viable, yeah, and I'm not again.
No, whether it will overtake it or not. Viable.
But that wasn't
sure,
the question. That wasn't the question. The question was, is it viable?
No, does it have a chance? That's
no, we gave. So it doesn't matter like what the because we said it. We don't think it's gonna do it, and then you went on a diatribe telling us why we're Sony ponies, and I'm like,
yeah, because you're saying that the question was, does it have a chance? My answer was yes, likely. And your answer was no. Exactly, and I said, "Here's all the reasons that it has a chance."
Yeah,
and
Carlos, it was on a diatribe. He explained his stance. That's it.
And now you're saying that I'm advocating that it's going to dominate. I never said it was going to dominate.
He never said that.
I said
I never said that. I never said that. No, chill, man. I never said
just
that.
like 2 minutes ago. Like if it's recorded, rewind it. Listen.
No, I said
live.
I said you. Like we told you why we think it's not going to do it, and you're like.
And to be fair, I'm the one who said that. Because I was comparing it to your Switch prediction, but I was mistaken.
No, I'm just saying they have.
You cut off.
You cut off, bro.
Cut off,
right? They have what?
They have a chance. Don't write off Microsoft yet. We have seen bigger upsets.
But I don't have. I won't write them off. And here's the thing: I still give Microsoft money to this day. I'm still got Xbox Live. And when xCloud comes out, if it works like they promised, then I don't need to have a Series X in my living room. I could just play it on my PC, and I'll be fine. I'll be totally fine. And they're still getting my money, right? I may not have the system in my living room, but in order to experience whatever Sony's offering, I would need a PS5. The same thing, I would need a Switch to play what Nintendo's offering. So for those, you have to do that. But Microsoft is offering me the option not to have an Xbox and still be in their ecosystem. I do that.
All right. So to answer the question, can Microsoft eventually overtake Sony to become a market leader? Sure.
That was never the question.
Actually,
I'm reading the Chiron.
I'm gonna read the exact word. Can Microsoft eventually overtake Sony to become a market leader? That's the heart of the question.
Yeah, that's literally the question. And obviously anybody can. Fucking Atari can come up with a console and do it.
No,
you know,
they can't.
I mean,
they started that shit.
No, man. If they release their games on PC,
they gave up and started building hotels. Man, they can't.
Shit,
I'm saying, it's obviously, of course, Microsoft has a chance. Like, there's always a glimmer of hope anywhere. But I'm just, in my opinion, is it realistic? I don't think so.
Yeah, and like I said, unless Sony fucks up really badly, I don't think so. That's what I think.
I don't think that's. I would kind of agree with that, but
Oh, you cut off.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, and Brett, just real quick, the reason I'm saying that is because the only reason Xbox 360, won for so long over PlayStation is because Sony fucked up. So that's what my opinion is based on.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, why do you think Sony fucking up is such an outlandish idea?
No, it's not. I just said. If they fuck up, which they can, I've said this already. I said if they fuck up, which is very not likely, but it's possible.
Okay,
Microsoft's taking it.
Okay, that's all I want to hear. That it's possible.
Of course, it's possible. Anything's possible.
Well, dude, don't get me wrong. I love Sony. Sony's become my brand of choice. Like the way everybody talks about how they're in, like it.
And Brett, I'll tell you why it could be likely. There's we're not privy to it, but there's some kind of executive shakeup going on at Sony.
Yes.
There's some kind of power struggle going on at the top, and it's very easy. Who's the German dude who took over Sony?
Oh, Herman, the guy from
Herman
fucking
Schultz?
Gorilla, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he could fucking just walk out on stage and say some bullshit equal to like get 2 jobs or whatever. He could totally put his foot in his mouth, both feet in his mouth,
Yeah.
right up his ass.
Sony could really
screw it
fuck
over.
up. You know, there's a lot of signs out there that Sony could very much stumble. You know, but again, just speaking for myself, like even with these stumbles, like yeah, get a second job, $600. Sony's still giving me the goods at the end of the day, even with fuck ups. So I don't really. So that's why I'm giving them, that chance again. Microsoft, I'm gonna have access to their games via my PC. I'm not buying another Xbox again. The Xbox 360, the Xbox One, I play my 32X more than this shit. You know, like it's just a useless console. Why? Because I play all the Microsoft games on PC. I'm gonna keep on doing that. You know, I refuse to.
Especially now with your work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I refuse to, ever be like, oh, I wish I could play that game, man. I don't own a system. Fuck that shit. I'm buying every system from now on. I want to have everything. But Sony, that'll always be the main one, just because the track record they have with me. But they could fuck up. You never know. It's going to be very interesting, man. Anyway, let's move on because we still have 2 more questions. Believe it or not. Oh man. Hey, listen, you guys are.
Can I just answer the question?
Oh damn, Brian, I forgot about you, bro.
I mean, when you answer the question, like you guys just kept on talking and talking. Okay,
Yes.
so
you fucking Americans can't shut the fuck up.
okay, in a couple seconds, can Microsoft come make the comeback? Yes, but they need to do a whole bunch of stuff to do that.
Designed this.
So firstly, they need to sign the third party, like what Sony done. So they need to get Call of Duty on board. They need to get like the next Destiny-esque game on board on their platform, whether it's like a month exclusive or year exclusive, whatever. They need to pay the money for that. They need to get some sports franchise on board. So, God forbid they pay EA for like Madden and FIFA deals. Like they need to make those deals to make things happen. Pay off Rockstar for GTA 6. Like if they make those deals and they come out at a cheaper price point, and the final thing is they need to get something to combat on the Uncharted sad dad genre. If they can do all three of those things, then yeah, they can come back. Yes, I did say sad dad because that's all Sony are doing now, just sad dad games. Like watch the Ghost of Sushi be a guy whose daughter's watch like seriously, like this is what they do now, just sad dads everywhere. Like Uncharted, sad dad. God of War, sad dad. Last of Us, sad dad.
Infamous 2 was a sad kid.
He was an asshole kid.
Infamous
Anyway.
Second Son.
That is what they can do in order to make the comeback. If they do that, then I think they can, because then they'll cut off Sony at the feet, and Sony will have nothing left. Because again,
I don't understand why Microsoft does not spend the money for those exclusive marketing and
I have no idea.
time rights. Yeah.
Those would be big.
Because they did it like all last gen, so why not just do it again and like win the third parties? Like if you win the third parties, then you won the generation.
Imagine if they get Call of Duty for a fucking month at least. The new Call of Duty, a month exclusive. That would be huge.
Yeah, that type of shit will definitely help them out. We'll have to see.
Like I just really don't expect them to do it anytime soon. So we'll see.
All right, man. Let's move on. Last 2 questions from Mr. G Megaforce. 1, 2, 3. So the first question is, what's the best game you played that had a bad ending? So the game is Mass Effect 3.
That game was almost immaculate, like the first 95% of it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think we could come up with a better answer.
Do you want the red ending, the blue ending, or the green ending?
Jesus, man.
We promise they're different.
I'm having a hard time coming up with another one. It's like, yo, that's the king of bad endings for a great game, Yeah. Oh, man. All right, anybody else? I think we took that one. All right, and the last question here is: I'm obviously vamping. There's a funny one. Do sex scenes add anything to games beyond being sexy or attempting to be sexy?
I mean, if it's story related, maybe, but I mean, like God of War didn't really add
It didn't
anything.
do anything. Yeah. It didn't.
Yeah,
So-
it's one of those things like just sex sells. So if you put a sex scene in there, people are gonna like it more. But it's like, does it really enhance a story? Most of the time, it doesn't. Let's just be real. And it looks just fucking weird too. Like these robots kind of clanking on each other and shit, like trying to simulate like intimacy, but it's just weird.
you know where it's actually kind of. I mean, it's not useful, but it adds to it is Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, that did it well, but I think it's because of the edits they did. You know what I'm saying? But like in
Yeah.
other games, it doesn't look. See, in Mass Effect, that's a good one because you actually get to see like the culmination of the characters bonding with each other and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, in that case, it's good. I haven't played the Witcher games. I don't know if if those are done well or whatever. But yeah, seeing those instances is good. But there's some instances like where it's just like again, it just looks weird because like we haven't really mastered the art of animating hands. And when you're intimate with somebody, hands play a large role. So it's like you have these fucking things like gloves and shit, like you're chopping on each other, like mittens chopping on each other and shit. Let me touch your face. It's like you're slapping her and shit. Like it's weird. But yeah, most of the time they're just there just for like cheesy value or whatever. They don't really add much. But for Mass Effect, it did. By the way, I like how both of our answers for both of his questions are related to Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, yeah.
Very
How the
interesting.
mighty have fallen, man.
Man,
Yo,
and
Bioware.
again, I gave those motherfuckers a shot, right? With
Yeah.
Andromeda, I'm like, all right, I see where this is going. This is looking like it's going to be a disaster. But I like the last 3 games, even though that last one had bad editing. Let's do it, man. Ugh. I don't know. Yo, that's a good question for myself. Tony, will you play the next Mass Effect game? I don't know.
They're not as of recently. They don't have a good track record.
No, it's like you have Mass Effect, the ending of Mass Effect 3. You have Mass Effect Andromeda. You have Anthem. Yo, I'm going to play Dragon Age because Dragon Age, they haven't fucked that one up yet, but BioWare, I'm telling you right now, if you don't get that one right, I'm not even speaking for me right now, I'm speaking to you. If you don't get this right, EA is going to kill you. So get that shit right. You already know what's going to happen. EA doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, they'll cut you off as soon as you start, not performing.
That's it. By the way, rest in peace to Visceral Games, man.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. I think we're done here, people. So yeah. So thank you for watching and listening. Leave us your questions in the Throwdown Discord server, and we'll answer them on next week's show. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
All right, so we're gonna go over what games we've been playing, and that's what I've been playing. And I'm just going later, guys.
Brett Murdoch. It's been real, party people.
This is
I just said that.
Damn it, you're muted. And Brian Manjoma.
Later, guys.
All right, yo, we'll see you on Thursday. Peace out.
peace.